Welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I am Liverpool 12th Man, and despite the fact that some of the turbulence and some of the bumps and scrapes from last flight that the Liverbird took off on, still alive and it's still kicking. So we're gonna fire up the Liverbird again, and we're gonna say hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our Reds out there, and try to get a little bit of closure on our FA Cup exit and some closure on the end of a quad chase and now becoming a treble chase. I know everyone's devastated, but chances are that's probably why you're either here to definitely vent. That's what I said we can do, but you're definitely probably here to maybe find a little bit of a happy place, a little bit more of some solace, and be able to breathe and understand the fact that we still have some very, very big titles and games to come. So it's more so you breathe, you focus, you restabilize yourself, and you move on. And if anything, I'm never going to leave my brothers and sisters behind. I'm that Red that's going to say, hey, let's keep our heads up. Let's go and get this title, whether it's the league title, whether it's the Europa title. There's still some big big names are still out there for us to get, and they're still actively able to get these titles. So let's just do it. So anyways, I have Brian as our co-pilot today. We're going to be joining JK will be joining us later on. But for now, it's just the two of us and you. So let's just enjoy this, right? Brian, how are you doing today?
Few dents and scrapes, but we're still airborne, right?
Yeah.
We've still got two engines, we've still got two wings. So
Yep.
yeah, but we've taken a bit of damage over the weekend, but it's still airborne. We are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so it is what it is, It was painful. I mean, it's always painful when you're watching the game. I mean, we fortunately didn't have to. I fortunately wasn't we didn't have to endure the pain of the Spurs, for instance, that ended up having a game where you're just never in it, and you just end up ending the stream early, as some of the content creators, some of the Spurs content creators did during their game. I don't know if that's any solace to bring about, because then we had to still watch. It was almost like a slow death rather than a quick one yesterday. But all the same, I mean, like I said, we're here, we're alive, and it's all about that next matchup. I mean, we have an international break coming up, and we're going to get through it. Hopefully, there's going to be some players that get some rest. Hopefully, considering that only Wataru Endo has an actual game that matters, in the sense of an actual game that's a World Cup qualifier. Let's just hope that we can get some of these guys some rest, because I think that's what it really looked like this weekend. Was we were just tired. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. Let me just repeat that. I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm not saying that as that's just something that we can just kind of say, oh well, who cares? No, it's unfortunate. No hindsight thinking about, oh, we should have played this player or that player in that Sparta matchup. I'm pretty sure that we were all pretty much having a good time with that Sparta matchup, and we all enjoyed the fact that we're seeing some players finally get back into form, finally start to show some semblance of what they've been performing at during this campaign. So yeah, let's just look at it as Old Trafford, geriatric Trafford, as I like to call it, was just had our number, and it's I guess not the streak of 1921 will continue until next we meet. Brian, you have some early thoughts that you want to get out there, some concepts of how you were feeling. So, I mean, you had to watch the game with us. You're a part of the Liverbird, watching high above the game for the watch along. What were your takes? What were some of the takes that you had?
What were your emotions? How do you categorize that? It's just mental. 7 goals. What? How many? You know, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
4 times the the score swung. You
Hmm.
know, it was they were in the lead. It was a draw. We were in the lead. They were in the lead. Or it was, a draw. It was just like, oh, what's going on here? I couldn't really understand a lot of it because, yeah, I've heard people say we looked tired. I didn't think we looked particularly tired in terms of not being able to move around, but we looked maybe mentally
Sluggish.
tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mentally tired. Like
Hmm.
we weren't sharp. We weren't awake. We weren't there. And I couldn't
Hmm.
understand. I was saying the same thing about them. It was a poor game for a long time. You know, there
Hmm.
wasn't a whole lot of quality in that game. There was
Hmm.
there was no midfield battle really, as people were saying. There was a lot of end to end stuff, which was good. It
Hmm.
was fun to watch, but there wasn't a huge amount of real like top quality football being played.
Hmm.
And like it went to show, like 3 of our goals were deflected goals. All our goals
Yeah.
were deflected goals.
Yeah.
There was a real lack of just finesse, really. Not that we were known for having that, but to me, we got going in terms of scoring goals, but we were just so flat and so uninspired in every way. The occasion eventually worked for them. We were never up for it. I didn't see us putting in challenges. It
Yeah.
was a bizarre game. It was just a really bizarre game because cup games, knockout games at Old Trafford, when there's a lot
Hmm.
on the line in terms of them stopping us and us going for a lot of trophies. I was expecting a lot more aggression on the pitch. I was
Hmm.
definitely
Hmm.
expecting a much more um, feisty game. You know, the likes of
Hmm.
McTominay on the pitch and people like that, characters on the pitch. I was expecting more, and it didn't really have a lot of that. Bruno Fernandes. You know,
Hmm.
it kind of disappointed me in lots of ways, that game as a spectacle. But it had, and then you look, well, it had 7 goals, and
Hmm.
it was a dramatic extra time winner for Man United. It should be one of the most, iconic games. You know, it should be a classic. Reading the scoreline, reading the details, that sounds like a classic.
Yeah.
But for me, there was a lot of it was missing a lot of the old school Man United, Liverpool fire,
Yeah.
which I suppose
Yeah.
is maybe
Yeah.
gone from the game a bit. But I think I
Yeah.
thought these kind of games tend to bring it back a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm
No.
left confused by it. I'm left mainly I'm left confused by that game. Um, and again, like it's also annoying because sometimes now we have to do the whole thing where we're not blaming. We have to kind of make it clear 1,000 times that we're not blaming or we're not slagging off individuals whilst pointing
Right.
out an individual making a really bad mistake.
Right. Right.
You
And
know,
that's
because
it's a
individuals,
collective. Normally,
yeah,
those individuals' mistakes are from collective errors, not like just one individual error. Like as in, it's like this space opened up because this player is not in the right, not in the right position, and then maybe the person doesn't track back quick enough to get like. Sometimes it's just one mistake can lead to a calamity of errors, a team error in a sense.
yeah, we just had individuals doing the wrong thing at the wrong time and
Yeah.
came up costing you. And you got to take them on the chin sometimes and say it. But
Yeah.
just confusion and disappointment.
Yeah. I want to.
But we
So
move.
we move, yeah. I mean, like, let's move to some of these comments in the chat here. Ozan Kabak, yes, he plays center back, says every fan base is bantering us over this loss. Shows that we are massive. And that's something I do. I put it up while you were talking, as in like I believe that completely. Look, people don't talk about you unless unless you are on their mind, or unless that is what they need to talk about, because it shows how big of a club we are. It shows how, look, there's so many people making content about this game per se, about the quad ending and everything else, and they're not even Red Devil content creators. Some of them, a good number of them are like content creators of other teams. That's how big this club is, and that's how massive, as Ozan Kabak, yes, he plays center back, has put, rightfully so, in my opinion. We do meet at Old Trafford in like 20 days. Yeah, I said in one of my posts on Twitter, I said I think less than a month or something. will be back to geriatric Trafford, and what we should have. This is a concept, and I kind of made a little bit of a soliloquy here, but like I don't know about. I know everyone likes how positive and everything else that I can tend to be, but I also, we all have a little bit of a dark side, and I think my dark side is that the Machiavelli in me or something, I guess, would be on something on lines of savor it. Like that whole revenge is a dish best served cold, I think it is the saying, right? Like as in like allow for it to like just like kind of like just sit there. Allow for that like that thought. Do not forget the thought of this loss. That's what I would like want to say. I don't want you to forget how you felt losing to this team. I don't want you to forget how your fan base kind of reacted. I don't want you to forget about how the fan base of their team and how everyone that's not even a fan of either club is reacting to this. Allow for it to simmer a little bit. Allow for it to make you mad and angry a little bit. Allow for you to drive, maybe reinitiate, maybe like turn on that switch inside you that makes you say, I've got to get across this line. I know I don't have much left in this reserve tank because I've been definitely running on fumes for some time, but I've got to find something. I've got to find that other, whatever it is, that other reserve tank, if we want to reference it as that, you got to find that gear that you can go into because this is where it will matter. You could either fall, you can either get knocked down and stay down, or you can get knocked down and get the hell up. And that's what I think this team needs to do. I mean, like for me, I look at it as now I mentioned I wanted to win this game, obviously, but I mentioned that I didn't want to win it like 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, something crazy or something like that, because then they would have revenge in their mind, possibly. They would have the fact that they've gotten humiliated in their mind. The best thing when you get humiliated is to humiliate that person, like, so that it takes all the spotlight off of you and puts it back on them, So like for me, I'm like, I would love to see us just understand the fact of, yes, I get that we lost. I get that they took us away from the squad. I get that they're all acting as if this is like, as if they won the FA Cup already. As Brian said, he said it's a final. It's probably because the Red Devils played it and thought that it was like a final. They reacted like it was a final. But for me, I just want to see us be able to take that to utilize this anger. That's what I would like to do. I would like to utilize that place. I'm not asking you to get to a sunken place. That's not what I'm not saying. Don't wallow in the misery. Don't wallow in that. If anything, make you mad about it. Make you say, I can't wait to see them. A lot of what Brian said earlier is, I agree. Like, how many times, Brian, were we talking about we would love to see that, like, just do a hard tackle against someone. I get you're going to get a card from it, but kind of wake someone up. Kind of say that this means something, kind of have that, like, the what we would see out of, like, what we have seen from Red Devil teams against us, since we've normally been the aggressors, since we've normally been the teams that have been on top and, like, have been riding high. It's just like I just want to utilize this for what we can, because there's very few things you can take from this game and say positively, yes, this is something that we can build off of, other than, hey, take this pain and make something of it. Do you disagree? Does the chat disagree? Am I going too dark 12th man or something, or is that too much?
No, I don't think it's dark at all. I think it's positive, just to say, like, look, yeah, it's only, I agree with the message. It's what you should think. If you can take anything from it, that's
Right.
what you can take. But yeah, for me, it'll be down the list of things I'd be thinking. Like, the game that we had was the one we've lost. It only really will work for us like that if the players can use that. Go back there and actually make that kind of mentality work for them, as much as the fans can do it, but the players have to make it happen as well. Their fans will also be, or their players will also be thinking, we've beaten them. You know,
Mhm,
their boys. I
mhm,
think
mhm.
we've beaten them, so it can work too. It can work both ways. So it is. Look, of all the things you might be able to try and find from it. Yeah, it can be a motivation to go there and do it again. But also, we were going there before thinking, well, the last time we were here, we beat them 5, we beat them 7.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, it is. That's what makes an elite sportsman is to be able to go back there and use that and make the difference. You
Yeah.
know, that's what you'd ask for the best sportsman is don't be downhearted. Use it, take it, put it in the back burner there for a minute, and it gets to Old Trafford. You're yeah, that's what you'd want an elite sportsman to be able to do and think about it like that, going, cannot wait to go back there. That's what you
Mhm.
want the boys thinking today is I cannot wait to get back there
Thank you.
and
That's
crack
what I
on
mean.
up again.
Yes. Yep.
But we still fucked up yesterday. We still dropped the ball in a big way.
Yep.
So if that's the one thing we can take away from it, yeah, that is it. But that's, I mean, hey, look, that's for a few weeks time. But yeah, they should be just a couple of players that played badly, especially, well,
Mhm.
which all of them. But we get to that. But and yeah, good evening, Mr. Barnes. So
Mr. Barnes, you know, I saw that Mr. Barnes
you got to
asking me
get back
about
there.
Cody.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
take
you
it. You got
know,
to go back there. But
the only
they
positive
were.
thing I can say about Cody is that he, in my book, he doesn't have the lowest rating on here, but he definitely has a low one. So don't worry about that. But I mean, like, he doesn't have the lowest rating on
Well,
my rating books at least.
yeah.
But you know, he was certainly not the light or you know the spark that we needed. Excuse me. And you know, it's like I think that it is kind of scary though, how a lot of the different social forums out there have been really, really, really reacting so it's like a visceral style of reaction towards this game into the point where they're really, really just targeting certain players as if to hold them as a scapegoat. This is a team lost. Cody Hackbo didn't lose this game for us. Let's not get it twisted. Cody Hackbo did not lose this game for us. We
Mhm.
collectively lost this game. And that's why you'll see it in these ratings. You'll see it as in there was no real super standout player, maybe, and the closest that I would say to having a okay game would be Maka. Other than that, there's no player that I have in my, at least in my the ratings that I put down for myself. There's no ratings that I have really of anyone
In
playing
ter-
above and beyond. Go ahead.
just in terms of Cody Barnes, all I'll say is since yesterday, I found something else to blame him for. Yay, double thumbs up for that one. That's yeah, like there was something else I noticed today. I was like, oh, he did that too. That was shocking. So yeah, I suppose let's, as Neil Ante says, let's rip the band-aid off and get into the ratings if you want. If
Yeah,
you want
let's
to
just
go
do
into
it.
something else.
Let's just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
cool,
just do it
cool.
for sure. All right, well, let's just get into this. Here we started off. We're gonna start off with Kevin, right? Is that how you say it? Kevin?
Queeveen.
Quevin. Make
Yeah,
sure I say
yeah.
it. I'm thinking because I know it's like close. It's in my mind too. It's starting to like sound more and more like Kevin. I can understand how they could say Quevin, like Kevin, like Quevin. I just got to get the que right. Okay, so Quevin Kelleher. Okay, Quevin Kelleher. How are we going to go with that? And it's going to be very interesting. We're going to get up to, don't worry, guys, we're going to get up to Kwanzaa. I want to see why everyone thought Kwanzaa had such an incredible game. But
Oh,
we'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll get it. He
I'm
is
gonna.
1, 2, 3. He's fourth on the list here. So we'll get into him. But
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know. Like I was a bit disappointed. We were overly heavily critical of him, and goalkeepers like I when I was because I was always tall for a kid. Like I was tall quickly, you know. I always got played in goal a lot. When they pick the tall kid in goal when you're growing up a lot, so I played in goal loads,
Mhm,
and I know
mhm.
it's really difficult sometimes. and you look at oh, he should have done this, he should have done that, and keepers will be like, you haven't got a clue, mate. You just have not got a clue. But
Right.
sometimes, yeah. Look, a couple of things I saw that I thought maybe he could have done this, maybe he could have done that. But with hindsight, I was thinking, well, look, it's in the heat at the moment. But he had not a brilliant game, not an amazing game. I'd be with the kind of 55 on him.
55.
They're
Okay.
all, yeah, I'm not going too high anywhere. Like,
That's interesting. I'd like to see what everyone see. This is why I would like to see because the ratings I have are definitely eye test based, I'd say, but are also I factored in statistics as well a little bit into some of my ratings. But I'd like to see what everyone else has. I know CK1 has Dustin giving him a 50. You had him at a 55.
yeah.
What else did everyone else? Did anyone else have any ratings out there for us? Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, am I being harsh? Like, I don't know.
I think you might be, because if you really like, and this is me saying, not trying to be like defense league, because I do have him low. I have him like a 64. Okay, yeah, like Bayesian Reds has. He has a 6.5. I have like a 6.4. I wasn't almost ready to give him that half point, but like, yeah, Mark A has him at 65. I have him at 64 because
bump
made
into
yesterday.
that. Bump into 60.
There was a lot of like let's not get it twisted.
Yeah.
They did not sit back like they did at Anfield. They had a lot of shots. And excuse me, you and I are both kind of like, on the fence if he could have done more with that first goal that he let in. I also know though that he had like he had a run out where he runs out and tries to get the ball away from a player once, but he also had 7 saves. He had 7 saves and he had 5 from inside the box. He had 1 key pass. He was 73% was passing, 9 out of 23 for long balls. I mean, he had a lot of like different, either goal kicks or different things that he had to deal with, but made some good saves. Could have done, like I said.
That's the thing. Sorry, no, not to interrupt. That's like I'm just thinking back. I'm kind of like with Barnes there. Like on any of the goals, he could, I wouldn't blame him. They beat most goalkeepers.
Mhm.
Really, the goals he let in. I don't know. What do you think? They weren't bad goals. They were all well struck. Yeah, I'd definitely been harsh. I'll go with this. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, because as you were going on, 9 out of 23 long balls is bad though. But yeah, no, I should have gone a bit higher than 55. So I'll go with a 60 on that.
There's a lot of shots, man. A lot of shots. I mean, they had 11 shots on target. Obviously 4 of them went in. That's why it's 7 saves, but still. The Anthony goal hurt. Yes. That was as you said, Ozan Kabak. That was a collection of errors, I think, as well. That was just, or wait, that was a collection of errors too. I mean, pretty much every one of our goals was a collection of errors. And that's the thing about it yesterday it wasn't like they just had pure brilliance. It wasn't like the Red Devils had pure brilliance that created these goals or created their opportunities. It was mental mistakes. It was errors on our part that really created the goals for them. And credit to them for scoring on the chances that we gave them, the gifts that we gave them. Basically, they unwrapped the bow and opened up the presents. That's what they did. But for me, yeah, it was. I would have. I think let's just go with 64. How about that? I will go with my original, or we can go like with 60. How about we go with 60? I'll bring down a little bit for those that were saying the 55s and 6, but I think he had it close to a 6.5, if not 64. But we'll keep it. We'll keep it.
Stop what's that?
I don't know. Stop calling them that. They need some. Red Devils. The Red Devils. That's what I'm calling
them. Right. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. Big up, Asian Reds. Barnes in the house. So appreciate Barnes tuning in.
Yeah, big dog.
All right.
Big dog in it.
So then let's just get into Joe Gomez. Look, I'm gonna rip this Band-Aid off now. I think that this was I think this was honestly the worst game for Joe this year. Whether this is because of we've been, going to the Joe Gomez tank too often, or we just, maybe it's like it is kind of scary that he is going to be utilized this, over the weekend with, or not this, or over the weeks, over the international break week with England, and the fact that he probably will get used with them as well in one way or another.
I
But I
don't
just
know.
thought that this was bad. It was a bad performance. So I do this thing where I go and look at this is Anfield. I look at the Echo. I look at goal. I look at I'm trying to think some other ones. I look at 90-minute. I look at FOT mob stats. I look at this is Anfield, like as in I already said that one, but like I look at all their ratings as well. I look at how people are interpreting. I try to compile like how do other people see the game? How did like the readers of the people that go and subscribe to those channels? How did they look at the game? I look at how the actual pundits or the actual journalists looked at the game as well, to like kind of get a gauge as to like, am I that far off in thinking the way I thought? And it was undeniably Joe Gomez in this was rated the worst out of all the players by all of these different outlets. And I just thought that it wasn't necessarily his performance at left back that left me wanting. It was unfortunately his performance at right back that left me wanting. It was the reason why Connor Bradley had to go in when he went in. It's the reason why I think he got moved from left back to right back. It was something of like a poor performance because he just didn't look dialed in. And maybe it's also because look, Joe's not a spark plug. He's not that Harvey Elliott energy, or something like that, where you're just going to get this guy that's like, going into tackles and it's like, super engaged with like energy and such. He's a very, very like, steady line of output. But he just wasn't there today for me. He just wasn't there for me today. And unfortunately that's my rating for Joey is going to be bad. So what are we looking at for Joey? I see Bajan had him at a 5. He said he was average. Ozan had him at a 45. Okay. Mark A had him at a 4.5. Okay. What did you have him at, Brian?
Well, I would have him pretty much in the same boat as most of our defenders. Dustin thinks he was one of our better players. I think they were all at the back kind of culpable and shocking. So without going too deeply into his game, I think we spoke about the different impact that this inverted system has on different players, but pretty much all of them across the back yesterday fell apart. It's not really about the not even about the game as much. It's just about kind of the mentality of it. So I think they're all 40. Well, not they're all 40, but Joe is 40. Me, Joe is 40.
Okay. Yeah, so 45, 4.5, got a 5 in there. Let's go with a 40. Let's go with 45. Let's go with 45.
Well, what was your rating? You never gave your rating.
My original rating was going to be like 47 or something like that. I think I had down there. I just changed it, but like I was gonna say like a 47, maybe if not like a 5. I was gonna go maybe a 5, but like or 50 out of 100. But like I could go with 4. I could see 45. I could see a 45 being more realistic. He was poor yesterday. Just was was 4 out of 11 for ground duels. Didn't engage in any aerial duels. 1 out of 3 for crosses. 7 out of 3 for his for long balls. Yeah, 80%. He just didn't look. he just didn't look sharp, as you said. Wasn't reliable the way that we normally see him being reliable. Had only 3 tackles, 1 shot, which was blocked. Was dribbled past once, but just it just left you really wanting. I mean, he had to play over somewhat all over the pitch in the sense of by playing right back and then playing left back and then eventually even getting subbed out. So he just didn't do it for me yesterday. I don't know.
See, anyone that was involved in that Hoyland goal, to me, started off, they were on a 3.
Yeah, you know what? That's the thing about too. He was involved in that too. He was involved in that. Yeah.
That was one of the worst pieces of defending I've seen in a long time, especially from him.
Raisin Red says on one thing. She says one thing he does know he needs to do is stop effing shooting. He had 1 shot yesterday. It didn't go anywhere near. I think it went over the bar. I want to say. Yeah, we don't need to hear the shoot clamors from the traveling Reds any longer. Much less even at home. Just let the guy shoot when it's an opportunity to shoot, not necessarily press it and push it. But it is what it is. How about for Virgil?
I'm going to give him his lowest mark probably the season as well. I'm going to just say 45 because he was in the middle of all of that and all of that just happened. So I can't say any more than that. They're all really bad at the back. They all had really bad games.
How about what were you guys thinking about Virgil? I think that Virgil has to take as the captain, as the he's going to get the most ire, like as being the captain of the defense as well. Trying to hold everyone in line, have everyone play their part, have everyone know their duties and jobs. He's going to be the one that's accountable. I know that we all look at Virgil as the rock for us back there, but I think, and like Dustin says, he gave him a 50 because, to be fair, mentally he was the most involved. Ozan gave him a 45. Mark A gave him a 45. Okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, like, I feel bad. I feel kind of weird that I gave him a higher grade than that. I mean, I gave some of these statistics for him. Played 120 minutes, obviously. I wouldn't say any of the goals were a direct, like he was directly impactful on really any of the goals per se, but he had 11 clearances, 2 blocked shots, 3 interceptions, 113 touches, was 89% for his passing, 84 out of 94 passes, was 7 out of 14 with his long balls, 3 out of 4 for aerial duels, didn't commit any fouls, wasn't fouled himself. And that's pretty much all the stats for him. I don't think he had any shots, to be honest with you, either. No, he did have shots. He had 2. He had 2 block shots, but that's defensively. I don't think he had any. We didn't have that many. Let me see how many corners we actually had yesterday. I don't think we had that many corners. We had 8 corners. Okay, it's more than I thought. I guess 120 minutes will do that. But yeah, we didn't see him connect on any corners. Our corners were kind of lacking yesterday. I thought that we should have and could have basically capitalized more so on our set pieces. I think that's a part of our game that we do have to somehow figure out this year. There's times when I feel like we finally might have figured that out, and then there's other times when it just looks painfully wanting. I think we even went. We did a couple of short corners yesterday too, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that shows that you're not when you're.
The buck stops. The buck stops, and for me, they're all on 45 in the defense, and the buck stops at Boston as well on pitch. He gets all the extra responsibility, he gets all that. So you got to turn around. You're not going to look at Connor Bradley, go, why didn't you hold the defensive line together, Connor? You're going to look at Verge, go, Verge.
I get you.
That's your job. So he gets the
I personally would have given them. You said, would you say 45?
Because they're all on that for me. I said I gave the game weight starting, giving everyone back 45.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So yeah, I can't. So I think when you're the big man, you're the big man. So you got to take the slings and arrows, you take praises, you get to lift the trophies. You're the captain, so you know you do the interviews. So you've got to take it on the chin. You've got to stand up and say, yeah, the defense wasn't good enough today. I'm not going to ask Connor Bradley why it wasn't good enough, or ask Joe Gomez.
Yeah, yeah. And if anything, you know what? If the defense isn't, if the defense is lacking in one way, guess what? You got to step it up even more so to cover their frailties. So, what are you giving him? Because I saw Barnes gave him a 6.5. Everyone in the chat pretty much gave him a 45.
Yeah, 45. All the way.
45. Yeah. I personally did go for 60 for him, but I will bring it down to a 50. How about that? To meet more
with 3 45s and 2 60s, I think a 50 is reasonable.
50 is reasonable, right? I'll give him a 50. Let's see. All right, so now we're going to move on to the guy that everyone thought was, or at least in their opinions, had a good game. Okay. Barnes said he played well. I believe Dustin, I think, said he played well for him as well. I can give you some stats on Kwanzaa. I can give you some stats on him. All right, so he had 6 clearances, 3 interceptions, 115 touches, 89% for his passing. He had 104 passes, 93 out of 104. 1 out of 2 for his ground duels, 4 out of 6 for his aerial duels. Was fouled once, fouled someone once, was offside once. I don't know why he was offsides, but yeah.
Running back from the corner.
Anytime, if you're a defensive, you're a center back and you're offsides. That's
no. He could have been running back from a corner or something, and we chipped a quick ball back in. He wasn't running. You know, you can get a little like that, and sometimes players are up for a set piece or something. And they have to run back, and we get the ball and ping, and all of a sudden, fucking Virgil's offside or Kwanzaa's offside. But
who was it? I'm trying to remember again. For instance, who was who gave Endo his assist? Was it Mo that gave him an assist? I'm trying to remember. I watched this game late last night again, but it was painful. I will admit that I did look away from the screen every once in a while. I'll admit that openly. Does anyone in the chat remember who did real quick? Who gave Endo the assist that, on the offside goal? Because I think that's who actually was flagged for being offside. Was the actual assist maker for him. If someone remembers in the chat, that'd be great.
Mac?
Was it Maka? Was it Maka? I thought it was Salah, but hopefully it wasn't Maka. If it was Maka, that sucks then. Because it was Mo, I think. I think it was Mo Salah. And the reason why I think it was Salah is because I saw on that goal, it was basically
the one that was the guy that was it was Mo that was offside. Yeah. It was Mo that was offside in that one.
Yeah. So again, that's like one of those things where like Mo was kind of like, rather than like, he kind of like, sometimes you don't really like make it, you kind of like, he was kind of like walking rather than like running or making a real serious effort to get onside, or at least to get not to be offsides. At least he was offsides in the very, very initial of it. I know we got the play turned around, and sometimes the ball drops to you and you can make the most of it, but it was more so he was if he had just like gotten back, if he just figured, oh well, like I'm too far advanced, let me track back a little bit, at least to be onside, he still would have been able to get to that ball. That ball still would have been there for him, and that would have been a big time goal for us. I think that could have been a momentum. That was sort of like a momentum, adjuster with that goal to being taken away. They drew the lines on him too. I don't remember drawing the lines actually. I know that he was. Sir, I think he was offside. I think he was just barely offside. Like he was like a. I want to say like his head or his shoulder was offside or something like that.
Oh, they did the lines. Yeah. They had the
Yeah.
lines. Yeah, his head was offside.
All right. So, but you're right. Yeah, yeah. I just think that like sometimes with these offsides, like you were just saying earlier about how the Kwanzaa get his offsides, it's just one of those things where it's just like, I get that you might be in an offside position, but you being in an offside position does nothing for us. Just always, in my opinion, I always think of mentally just if you're out of the play, make yourself available to be to be active or a part of the play. You know, you never know when and what's going to happen. If you're offsides and the ball drops to you, it's still offsides. It does nothing for us. So if anything, you just always want to be on sides. If you're offsides from the play, hustle back, get on sides. You know, get to a place where at least you know you're not the last. You could be the last man, but at least be the last man that's in line with the defense. That's my personal opinion. Whether you're defense, midfield, forward, I just think that you should always make an honest effort to always be on sides. It's a simple concept. But it is what it is. All right, so what do we have for Kwanzaa? Kwanzaa got a 55 from Ozan Kabak. Yes, he plays center back. Mark A gave him a 65. What were you going to give him, Brian?
Give him a 45. 45 as well.
45? I got you. Yeah. Everyone gets it. Everyone's getting it today. Okay, so 65, a 55. I had him at a 50.
Those averages down.
I know, right? I had him at a 57. So let's get him at a 54. 54. You brought him down a lot. That 45 brought him down a lot, but the 65, 55, 57, that kind of like helped it out, helped it stay in that 5 range.
Oh yeah, you won't get with that.
Yeah. All right, then let's go on to Robbo. How do you feel about Robbo? I think Robbo had a. Let me just say this real quick too. I think that Robbo, despite the fact that I know everyone's very, very cognitive of the fact that he is not to the level of what we have really come to expect from Robbo in the levels that he brings and everything else that and the amount of like impact and contributions that he brings. But I thought Robbo had a relatively decent game in that it wasn't a subpar game. I wouldn't have put him in that. I would have said 3/4 of the back line could probably get in the 40s, or at least close to the 40s with what Brian was saying. But Robbo wasn't that guy for me yesterday in that case. I thought that, obviously Robbo should have done better with the opportunity that he had in front. We're not looking for Robbo to score. We all know that Robbo doesn't have shooting boots rarely at all. But that was just an absolute, goal waiting served on a platter from Diaz that he just woefully put over the bar. Robbo had 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 1 interception, 2 tackles, was 87% for his passing, had 1 key pass, was 3 out of 10. His corners and his crossing definitely was lacking, and that's something that is supposed to be his forte. 1 out of 4 for long balls, but he was 2 for 2 for ground duels and 1 for 2 for aerial duels. And that's pretty much all the stats on Robbo. That miss was a bad miss. You're right, Mark. You're right. That was a bad miss. But I just thought that he was one of the few players that you could say that was at least on the pitch for all 3 of our goals. At least, unfortunately, he wasn't on the pitch for the goals that came later on. All the goals that came later on from the Red Devils, but
well, that is a fact. That is a fact. And I said, look, in the first part of the game, he was probably our most important player. Or not most important player, most involved player.
Involved player, yes. Yeah.
He was doing kind of old style Robbo stuff. And I did say during the game, that this is the kind of game that Robbo likes. He kind of made for these big games. He likes to get, because he's one of those guys on the pitch that has that old school aggression. that we were,
Mm-hmm.
bemoaning the lack of earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of probably waiting for someone to try and get in his face. He probably would have loved it if Anthony tried one
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
he was trying to do crossing. He was trying to get involved. He was trying to do what he used to do. And we spoke
Mm-hmm.
about this yesterday. You're like, if he could finish, and it's like, yeah, it's literally that's like if Robbo could finish, he'd be the next like Roberto Carlos. Well, he'd be
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
He'd be a 200 million pound player because him in his peak, like Robbo at his peak,
Mm-hmm.
doing all he did, getting like 17, 18 assists. Imagine
Mm-hmm.
if he could add 12 goals to that. I mean, that's just one of the world's greatest ever left backs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that has always been the one thing. But like I said yesterday as well, you can tell how much he's worked on it because he never misses by miles. It's always like when he hits it for a half a second, you're not sure if it's going in or not. It always just misses the post. So you can tell he's really tried to work hard on the finish. And you can
Yeah.
tell it's really it's not natural for him to try and finish. So he's trying
No,
a
you're
bit
right
too
about that.
hard to get it on
Yeah.
target. He doesn't have that technique to just dink one or tap one in or square or give the keeper the eyes. He sees the ball
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, okay. Remember what Sensei told me. Center your body. Keep running over the
Right.
ball.
Wax
Hit it
on,
with the
wax off.
inside of your foot. Yeah, hit it with the inside of your foot." He's trying to think of all the technique things
Right.
to do it
Right.
and getting it right, rather than just being a kind of a semi-natural finisher, as much as a left back could be, but just
Right.
having
Right.
a
Right.
natural,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of variation to his game. But then we saw him put that perfect ball into the box, where it just
Yeah.
curled in front of everybody. That's the Robbo ball. That's
Yep.
undefendable. It's
Yep.
bending away from the goalkeeper. It's missing the defenders. It's just all you have to do is just nod it in. You don't have
Yep.
to be, uh, you know, anything special to just run up, make contact, and that's a goal. That's for a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. He was doing that. So yeah, I must actually kind of look. It's a lady's prerogative to change her mind, as they say. So I'm going to steal that for today, and I'm going to change my mind about my 45 thing because he was off late and he was really good
Yeah.
to a degree when he was on.
To a degree. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
is kind of
We're not saying
it's
he was
like
exceptional. Yeah, we're not saying he was so
it's
exceptional or like that. He was a lone star out there. I'm just saying that he wasn't
no, he's
terrible.
he's gone up to 60. He's gone up to 60 for me because it was a glimpse of
Wow.
a bit of the Robbo of old. It was a
That's cool.
glimpse of a
Item
bit of
is 60. I'll be honest with you. Item is 64. I mean,
I'll give
like
him
item is 64. Yeah, Robbo can't hit a barn door for
no,
sure.
no.
No, he can't really.
But
I mean, like
like you
he
said,
can't. And then there's that time when and then he's got a goal. The goal that he has this year was a well taken goal. It was one that surprised everyone. He finally got it in. But I
but the
guess the
players,
clock
but
is
the
right
players,
twice a day, even with no
the play,
batteries in it.
yeah, but the players that can hit a barn door, the players that can score a goal, they can't defend like Robbo can. They don't have Robbo's attitude. They can't
Yeah,
cross a ball like Robbo can. I mean, you're like saying Robbo can't hit a barn door. I get it, like, but that's literally expecting him to have all 10 of the 10 skills. Robbo
yeah,
only has 9 of the skills,
yeah.
and the one that he's lacking is the fact that he's not a brilliant finisher.
Yep.
That's all he's lacking, and he's our left back. He came from Hull for 7 million. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely could have scored a few more in his career, but not that many.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I say, it's like he's only missing that way. He's like a night. That's why he's probably only 90 on one of those stupid FIFA cards or whatever they call them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
No, it's not.
if
He's not
he,
at 90. He's like I think he's like at 80.
yeah,
He's in the
well,
80s. But I get what you're
he
saying.
he's just not a. If he was a finisher, he'd cost 200 million. If he could,
Oh
like I
yeah,
say,
absolutely. Yeah,
if you could
yeah,
also rely on him to get you 12 to 14 goals a season, reliably scoring goals. I mean, that's like we said, that is literally one of the greatest left backs of all time that can defend like him, has his work rate, has his attitude, has
mm-hmm.
his stamina to go up and down the wing, to cross and pass, to also be able to score goals. Well,
Yeah. No,
wow.
you can't ask, what
What a
else?
player
What
that would
more
be.
can you ask
What
for?
a player that would be.
Or can you ask for? Yeah. I gave Robbo. I originally had him at like a 64. I know that we got a 45 from Ozan Kabak. Yes, he plays center back. We got a 45 from Mark A. We got a 5 from Beijing Reds TV. I know that you adjusted. You said 60. I had a 64. So let's give Robbo a 55. Okay. Make him the best out of the back line, if anything, but he's definitely not. I didn't think he had like a 40 some odd performance. I think he was definitely he was decent.
What did Kelleher end up on? Sorry, what did Kelleher?
We had Kelleher ended up on a 60.
Oh, so he got okay, Kelleher. Okay, I was thinking he was not the highest scorer yet, but he's the highest scorer of the outfield backcourt.
Of the outfield players, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so far
No,
we got a 44,
I think that's
54, and a 55.
I think it's deserved as well, because as bad as they all were, he was the better earlier on, and he wasn't on when we completely fell apart.
I want to hear what the chat says about Dom. I wish JK was here for this portion, because I know JK was very, after the wrap, after the game, we all were talking about some of the players that kind of disappointed us, and I know that he was very critical of Dom. Dom had some shots. I know that some of them weren't the greatest of shots, but I'm gonna say, but they were all. I believe they're all on target. Yeah, they're all on target. At least they weren't necessarily like, it wasn't like some like, oh, he just painfully missed it, like the Robbo attempt or something like that. And
when was that long range dribbler though? When was that long range dribbler that was never going? To remember, he hit it from about 20 yards.
Yeah, that was the long range dribbler. Was in the 56. Was in the 55th minute.
Yeah, that was on target technically, but to me, that's shooting practice. That's saving practice for a goalkeeper. That one. So I'm not counting that. That's where stats can lie to you, because they've said, "Oh, you got a shot on target." Then you watch that shot, and you're like, oh, "Okay, yeah, right, whatever." Okay, yeah, technically it's on target, but yeah, come on, your granny is saving that one.
Right. There was one that I think it was there was one that was from, there was two from way outside the box, and that was like the 5th minute and the 56th minute. He had two shots from way outside the box.
You kept saying it's going to watch along. He's determined to score. You were saying, I reckon Dom's going to score next. Dom is like you were saying every couple of minutes. You're like, Dom is really determined, because he was just trying things from. It was like, chill out. I was like, look, if it's not on, it's not on. You don't have to shoot forever. Just take a touch, turn back, start to move again. But like you were saying, it's like he had £1,000 on himself to score. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not suggesting.
No,
not a bet on himself to score. He was like, no.
I didn't. By the way, I didn't. I didn't. I had nothing invested in.
No, not you. No, not you. I was mean,
him. Oh, okay. All right.
If I had money on himself to score, he's like, no, what are you doing? He's like, shut up, I'm gonna crack.
Okay. Right. No, I mean, like, the reason why I was saying that, Brian, was because, like, I really thought, I mean, some of these other games that he's been a part of, yes, it's like you could tell that his fitness isn't at the level that he wants it at. You could tell that he says that he's back, but you could tell that there's still that, even though you're back physically, or relatively physically, it doesn't mean that you're back physically. You could tell that he's still trying to get that those extra gears that we've come to expect out of him, because he is one of the fastest players in the Prem. Surprisingly, but he is one of the fastest players in the Prem, and he's also, obviously got, or at least in the beginning of the year, he has one of the best, staminas in the Prem. Big up to Keep It Real. I see Philip. Good to see you guys all in the chat. But he's got something. For me, he hasn't been looking for that shot as much or as often as he has been as of late. I think that's maybe one of the ways of him trying to dial into that form of thinking that, okay, maybe if I get some goals in me, I'll kind of feel like I'm really back. That's why when he had that goal against Sparta, like I said it against Sparta, I said I'm like, Dom's gonna score in this Sparta game, because like he's looking for a goal. Sometimes he's more dialed in defensively than he is offensively. That's what I'm trying to get across. And he's more in that Hendo role that like everyone's been putting him in, has been stating him as Hendo 2.0 type role, where he's just like doing a lot of help, assist style defense, and is more engaged with like doing a lot of legwork of running around the midfield and covering up different spaces for for advancing players. But lately he's been looking for his shot more often. He's been taking cracks. And I mean, like, we all know he's got that. I mean, the Fulham game, he had that wonder goal. You know, I believe it was the Fulham game that he had the wonder goal. But we all know he's got a foot on him. He's got an absolute cannon. But, you know, all 4 of his shots, for instance, were all 4 shots for one was just inside the box, and the other 3 were outside the box. So he's definitely looking for it, for that shot. I mean, I don't mind him taking that shot, tell you the truth. With the amount of power and intensity that he puts into his shots, I know that the one that you're speaking of wasn't exactly a real, like, cracker of a shot, but a lot of those shots are good shots sometimes to have, because if you can make the defender or the goalkeeper not do goalkeeper practice, as you said, more so have to make a save, and then it just bounces, like make it so it deflects and drops, hopefully to one of your forwards that are most likely advanced. That kind of, I don't mind those kinds of shots at all. I would love for you to score them, but if you can't, that's what I like the result to be.
Well, yeah, that can happen, but of course, yeah, but I mean, again, now that's a bit of a reach there. Like, he hit a really, really poor shot that was never.
No, yeah, I'm not saying his shot was good. Yeah, I'm not saying his shots for any of those cracker style
so
shots.
He wanted to bet. He wanted to connect with that. You know, it was so far out that the keeper was getting it. It wasn't one that could create a rebound or a second chance. So, look, even in a Premier League career, right? Even in a Premier League career, even in the career of the guy that, no, we don't want anybody to use in the same sentence as Dominic Sposset, right? Even someone who's famous for scoring fantastic, well-struck shots from midfield. Even over a career, there's not that many. They don't do it that often. They might have 7 or 8, you know, but everyone remembers her for doing it. You know, like, you're not going to score those kind of goals every second week. You know, you can do it. We know you can do it because they can all do it, and these boys can all strike a ball. Give them a shot at goal from 20 yards, they can all strike a ball. So it's just, yeah, even if you're really great at doing it, it's all about picking the moment. If there's nothing else on and the shot is there for you, take it on. But shots from outside the box being goals, especially with the level of goalkeepers now, not like it used to. Like, they are still rare enough. So if he scores 2 or 3 of those a season in all competitions where he just scores one from outside the box, you know, like I say, even the likes of Gerrard and those kind of guys, they weren't scoring parlors from outside the box every second.
No, I get that. Yeah, no, you're right.
You know, so let's, you know, let them take them if they're like. It's just about decision making. Don't be greedy. If that was the only option on, hell, man, go for it, because you know you can do it. This is the thing. Right. We know we can.
We know you can do it. That's my part and point. Yeah.
So if there's nothing else on.
Yeah. So what would you? I know, other than the dribbler, I know that possibly affects your scoring for him. But what would you give him as a score then?
No, it didn't affect my score. I was just saying, like, in terms of, like.
Or I thought it would have. Okay.
What would
you give him as a score then, Dom? For Dom.
I think he was 56.
56. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because that's Bayesian Reds has him as a 5 or 50. Dustin has him 50. I had him as a 55. He said the 56. I'll put him as a 55. I think that's fair. Like I said, he was trying to contribute. He was trying to get a goal. They weren't the greatest of shots, but I mean, at least you know, again, he's just trying. He's doing what comes natural to him, I think, and that is he believes in his shot. He knows he has a shot. You know, whether his fitness and whether the levels of his abilities are equal in stature right now, that's obviously being tested. But I thought he was trying to do something in the game. But 55 is not a great score anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go on to.
Yes, you do. It does take, I think, maybe like 4 full games to get back to proper match fitness. So I think he's only about 80 or 90% there anyway. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and I mean, like, hopefully he's gotten past, like, you know, him showing up in the presser, you know, doing like, you know, speaking on different, you know, speaking on being asked about his health, being asked about if he's back, being asked about, you know, individual players and how they've affected him in the sense of like what he, like as we all know that he's a team player. I'm really happy that we got Dominic. I like Dominic as a player, and I think that he's going to be a fantastic player for us going forward. This young man, or this man, I should say, is also one of my favorite players. Also one of my G's. But Wataru Endo had a goal taken away from him. That certainly would have affected certain people's. I'm taking it certain people's ratings for him. He was good, not great. There were points where I would have wanted a little bit more from him. It's interesting because we've all spoken about times and places where these guys, especially Wataru, knows when to take a good yellow card. You know what I mean? He knows that Milner concept of, okay, I'm going to make a hard tackle, or I know this isn't going to be this probably will end up getting, certainly be a foul most likely, but I'm just going to make sure that I get this tackle in. For me, I would have had Wataru at a 50. I would have had him at a 55 yesterday, but that's just my personal score. Out of the midfield, I thought I had him as the lowest out of the ratings for the midfield. I think I had him originally at a 54, to be honest with you. I had him 54 actually. But no. Asian has him at a 3. He says not a good game at all, worst of the season. Don't let me rattle you, 12 man. I got you, Asian. He was a part of the final goal allowed from Harvey. And no, I get that, but notice that you say he was a part of the final goal from Harvey. He wasn't the only part of the goal that was the conceding goal. He was, but you're right. He's a DM, so that means he's got to take it for what it was worth. And yeah, I have Dustin. I'm going to start your question, Dustin, and I will come back to it after we're done the ratings here. Dustin gave him a 75. Wow, that's a very high rating. I wouldn't have gone that far. And 30. So the 70 to 75 and the 30 really brings it back into those 50s. What were you going to give Wataru?
Well, I was going to make a really lame joke about him not being able to drive 55. So that was going to be after yours. I couldn't. No.
So yeah, I have him at 50. I have him at 54.
Yeah, but you said 55 to start it. Yeah,
55. Yeah, 55, 54, something like that. Yeah.
The midfield wasn't really a thing. Yeah, look, it wasn't really a thing.
I can give you some stats on him if you want. 108 touches. He was 81 out of 90 for his passing, for 90%. He was 1 for 2 for long balls, 0 for 1 for dribble attempts, but he was 4 for 11 for ground duels, 1 out of 2 for aerial duels, committed 2 fouls, had 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 1 interception, 4 tackles, and was dribble passed 4 times.
That's awful. Those defense.
Oh, that didn't help his case. That didn't help his case.
The duels lost, dribble pass. Those are terrible defensive stuff.
Your rating is gonna basically move the needle one way or another. So what would you have given him?
35. More dead than
35. Wow. Okay. 58, 75. All right. Let's do those 35s. Wow, those things hurt, man.
Everyone's getting a harsh report card from yesterday. I'm telling you.
I get it.
Yeah. There's no one going home going, oh, the lads were awful, but I got away with it. I was okay. No. It's like that thing, where they go into the army and it's like some guy hasn't made his bed. So everyone else in the dorm has to do 50 laps, but he has to sit there and do nothing. So everyone else gets punished just because you effed up. This is like everyone is getting punished today. Even if you think you did wrong, everyone is under the thumb today.
let's get him at a, since you and Barnes had him so low. And Barnes, hopefully Barnes will help. We'll have will allow for the ratings for his ratings. I saw some of his ratings already, so I'll have to make sure that he like credits our ratings the way I credit his rating in our evaluations. But okay, I'm gonna give him a 45 because I had him at. I mean, Dustin's rating had him way high up, but still. Even if you throw out the 3 and the 75, your rating and my rating kind of pushed them into that 45 range.
I was 35. Someone else was something you were. So I think 45 is fine. I think I'm okay with that.
How about for the guy who I thought had possibly the best game out of anyone on the pitch for us? That's not saying much, but got a yellow card early. I'm not, again, you didn't hear me bemoan the refereeing. You didn't hear me say a little, go really into depth about some of the other like some of the other games that we've seen from the officiating. I was a little bit perturbed about why and how Bruno got away while he was on a yellow card, why he got away with the challenge that he had. I believe it was on Maka too. I think that's the reason why I'm referencing it. But he got a. Was it not on Maka? It was Sabasali. Oh yeah, you're right. It was on Sabasali. Yeah. It was on Sabasali. It was because I think he even thought that he was like, Bruno being Bruno was like demonstrative with his disgust and thinking that he got, that it was a clean tackle and all this other crap, and kind of doing his own forms of like dissent in himself. And that was the reason why I got the first yellow card. I don't understand. Bruno is a POS to me. I just do not like Bruno. And it's not the fact of that it's not all reliant on him being a Red Devil. I just think that he is just, he is sour. There was a point when I was I know we were in the running for possibly bringing him in as a player, and there was a point in a time when I was like, he's one player that I'd be interested in seeing as a Red, but seeing what he does and the kind of energy that he projects, and it just there's a reason why I call him a rat. Why he's in the rat family with Bernardo.
If you were to do a Twitter poll tomorrow, worldwide, and ask for the most unpopular players on the planet right now, he's top 3. Even United fans that get the whole thing, they know they get it. He is of the last 10-15 years, man. He really is up there.
Well, Dustin brings this point out real quick, and I'll allow for you to finish your thought too. Is that he says he completely agrees with me on the Bruno call. Bruno could have gotten a red twice, once for a second dissent, and the foul should have been a red. And then 1 minute later, he referenced the point of how Gomez got a yellow card for actually no kind of not a yellow card style offense. It's almost like, okay, you're gonna give Gomez a yellow card for that tackle, but yet how was that any different from the Bruno tackle? And especially the player. I get that some people say, just because he's on a yellow card, he shouldn't. If those are the same people, then where were those same people that were saying that when we watched Diego get a red card or get a yellow card, which was a second to become a red, on a tackle that he didn't even make contact with the guy. It was a dive. Those things are why I'm saying I was bewildered. I'm not saying that was an absolute determinant of why we lost the game or something along those lines, but it would have certainly been a difference maker. It would have been a certain difference maker in the game. If they're playing with 10 men, if they were playing with, you know, one of their better players out of the game as well, I think it would have made a difference. And the sheer fact that he didn't get that red card was like, that was a head scratcher as to like, I was definitely like, I don't understand that, but it is what it is. Do you have a rating for McAllister?
Yeah, ratings, not reps.
Yeah.
McAllister 60.
60. Okay. Okay. Where do you guys have Mac? Dustin had him at an 80. Dustin's trying to counteract Bajan Barnes' ratings. I think he's actively, you know,
but
putting a
Dustin,
couple extra points on, you know, stacking the deck a little bit with a couple extra points to help it out.
Well, that's democracy.
Yes, democracy at work right there. Wait, what was the rating you said? I'm sorry. Just so I can make sure.
Oh, it should be a bit more interesting, I suppose. 57.
57. Okay.
Yeah.
Mac got a 7 from Bajan Reds. Okay. I'm gonna stick with what I had originally. I'll go with the score, considering that like I had him at a 71 originally. So I'll stay at the 71. Let's go on to, all right, this player is a divisive player. Bajan Red said that he likes him, but he's just frustrating the hell out of him right now. Luis Diaz, Lucho, affectionately called Lucho. What were your ratings for Lucho?
Stop me.
Okay, that's what I was about to do. Because Lucho had a decent stat number kind of game. He was 2 shots, 1 shot off target, 1 shot blocked, 3 out of 4 for his dribble attempts, was 83% for his only had 68 touches. And this is again why I was really passionate again for Bajan Red on Bajan Red TV about I would say it definitely came off as being defense league for Lucho. And again, Lucho is one of my definitely a beloved player for me on this team, but he's not my favorite player on this team. So I wasn't doing it under like just straight favoritism, but you know, I spoke on the fact of like when Mo Salah's on the pitch, watch Lucho's touches go dramatically down. And I mean dramatically down. And like you know, it's not saying that at times, it's not even saying that Lucho, because Lucho had more touches than Mo Salah in this game. It's just so that the focus is always more so to our right side than it is towards our left. And that's why, if anything, you kind of saw at times you really got to see our lineup or our front three really, really mixed up in a sense of where their positioning was, by Lucho being central at times, or even sometimes pushing out towards the right, if anything. I'll give you just some stats though. I gave you the stats on his shots, and I'd say he had 68 touches, but he had 4 key passes. Lucho was creating some real opportunities. I spoke about the Rabo opportunity.
4, yeah. Okay, next stat.
Yeah. He only had 1 cross, but didn't connect on it. He was 6 out of 9 for his ground duels, and had 1 tackle, 1 interception. He's only drove past once, but yeah, that's pretty much all of his stats.
Yeah,
nothing super crazy about it, but
no, it's a bit of a 60. But it's a bit of a 60, I suppose. Like the thing with the only thing like with Diaz is that like the Luis Salah thing, you know, that's you add Trent into that, right? You talk about us having a right hand side bias, right? You have Salah in there. When you have
a right side bias, we have a right side bias, yeah.
If you add Trent into that as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you'll see that go up even more and more and more and more and more, right?
Exactly.
So that's something that infuriates me the most, is that even though we have an obvious right side bias because Salah is on the pitch, we've ended up with 7 attackers, 6 of them who are all
Oh,
either
right.
left-sided or
Yeah.
center.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it's all left-sided, 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 center, center,
Yep.
center. You know, it's
Yep.
just because Salah is so good and he has to play. We don't have anybody behind Salah, and we've got 4 left-sided forwards: Jota, Lucho, Nunez, and Gakpo. You know,
Mhm.
it's really annoyed me how we just have this surfeit of players on that side, and we've nothing that we can fit in behind Mo. And I know it's hard to get someone to sit on the bench and say you're going to play, you know, second fiddle to Mo Salah. But yeah, it's just we're so skewed to one side.
Mhm. Yeah, we are, and that's something very, very unique in the sense of we have the options on the left side. We have plenty. We have plenty of options. We have a plethora of options on the left side. Yet we still predominantly go towards the right when it comes to a lot of our emphasis of our attack. You
Yeah,
know,
because
and
there's 200 goals sitting there calling for the
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
There's a guy that broke the Premier
Oh,
ridiculous amount of goals from
mhm.
a supposed Chelsea failed right winger coming for Roma, and now all of a sudden he's just breaking record after record after record. So
Mhm.
any young player, Bradley, Elliott, even a Diaz, even a Nunez coming in, you can see all the time they're just not all the time, but you know it's obvious just looking for Mo, looking for Mo.
Yeah. Yep.
Is
Yep.
that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but
No, I think that it can be a bad thing at times because I think sometimes, like we started to see a little bit less of it with, like for instance, if you I keep talking about, oh, why doesn't Lucho score more goals? Well, one, obviously he's never really been that goal scorer like that anyway. But I know Brian's having a couple issues with his internet here, but but it's with Lucho for me. I asked Beijing Reds if he could elaborate a little bit. And for Lucho, even when it comes to Nunez in the middle, and a good number of his assists have come as a result from or to Salah. It's been for me when it comes to Lucho, like sometimes players will look to kind of like take step back, or I'm trying to think of the right word. They'll concede to giving Salah the opportunities, feeding Salah in a sense, rather than sometimes eating themselves, like rather than taking the opportunities themselves. And Darwin
every
was a little bit on that case and for a little while, especially when he was going through some of his finding his range and finding his accuracy. He would tend to kind of like look to not sometimes not take a shot and end up getting a pass, end up being a goal, but still, it's like he's like trying to like give Salah more so what it is because Salah's the big dog in the sense. And as a striker, for instance, Nunez can't have that concept. He's the
it's the
big dog.
same.
You know,
It's the
you
same in
got three.
every
You should have
job.
three big dogs. Huh?
It's the same in every job, though. If you go into any job that is in any way kind of, team focused, or even kind of, yeah, you may be working for a company, but you're working within a team of 8 people or whatever, even though you might come in at a certain level, if you're coming in at a certain level, so always takes time to realize who's actually in charge, who's the main, everyone to kind of find their level. And when you've got someone like Mo Salah in the building, then it's like, well, he's quite obviously the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Trent is
Yeah.
the main guy. So
Yep.
for some, especially players who haven't, look, these guys that we brought in, Luis Diaz, Nunez, McAllister, Sabazlai,
Mm-hmm.
all of these guys are top quality players for the future. All of these guys, well, no, not Diaz isn't one for the future. He's one for the present. He's like 26, but he's one for the present. So Bosley 23, 22, 23. Yeah, they're kind of for the next 8, but none of them have won any. None of them can
Mhm.
come into Liverpool and go, yeah, oh no, look, I get it. Big team, strong team. They've won a lot, but I've won this,
Mhm.
I've won that. A lot of these guys have never really won anything as well.
Mhm.
So they know
Yeah.
it's like if football is it's very animalistic. There's a food chain there, and they know they have to find their way in until they get respected by the bigger boys and all of that. But they can't walk in with the medals around their neck,
Mhm.
and we have the medals. That dressing room is full of medals. So there's also that, like, having to kind of work your way in and prove yourself. So yeah, when Trent is on the pitch, you're going to give him the ball. When Mo was on the pitch, like that's why I think Diaz and Nunes have no chemistry. Diaz and Nunes just look like
That's a
strangers
good
on the
point.
pitch
That's a
a
very
lot of
good
it.
point. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
why does Nunes and Salah look like they have great chemistry? Salah is always looking for Nunes. It's not just the other way around, by the way. Obviously,
Mhm.
Salah is always looking for Nunes. But
Mhm.
Diaz is kind of standing over there, like, Diaz, like the girl in the corner or whatever, just going, well, I'm here too, but okay. But him
Yeah.
and Nunes just don't play off each other.
Yeah.
They not. But now maybe the stats out there do well. Actually, Brian, they've connected. Yeah, but
Mhm.
watch
Mhm.
them,
Mhm.
watch them on the pitch. They don't look like they're looking for each other. They don't look like they know what the other one is going to do. I mean, look, it's easy enough cross the ball in the box from the left, and Nunes heads it. Yeah, okay, cool. He assisted. But you look at Mo and Nunes, then it's like little 1-2s, give and goes, you know, smiling and laughing. You can see it's all leaned over towards that, and
Yeah.
there will become a point where that won't be helpful.
Yeah. I get
There
you.
will.
I
So
get you.
it's something that needs to be sorted out. So, like I was saying a while ago, my two most things that I'm most interested to see what our new manager does in terms of player wise. One would be Trent, but now I was saying something, but now I'm actually thinking Mo Salah as well. Because how do you come into a new team and go, right, new team,
It
look
depends.
forward
It
to
heavily depends on what our
yeah,
new coach is. Right. Yeah.
yeah. What does he think? Because, Trent, what does he do with Trent?
Mhm.
That's the biggest question. I imagine Klopp will kind of meet him on the way out, going, congratulating him and all of this stuff. I mean, metaphorically, meet him on the way out of the building as the new guy is coming in, maybe, or
Mhm.
on the phone or whatever,
Mhm.
telling him you've got the best thing in the world, yada yada. Telling him, congratulations, you got this brilliant job. The squad is amazing. And just as they're about to hang up, you go, oh yeah, and good luck with Trent, by the way. Ding. It's just like good luck figuring out how to make that guy work because yeah, he's amazing, but he's a problem. So I'd love to see him do the Frimpong type role if he wants to do that. If it's Alonso, old school wing back Trent, just get going
I got
forward
you.
and
Mhm.
being crazy, creating, crossing. But yeah, that's him and Salah. Like if Salah sticks around for a year,
Look, we
you know,
don't have. I think one of the unique things too is that we don't have a lot of like as in, one Beijing Reds TV said he says no end product yesterday didn't do enough to attack the left side. I mean, the numbers kind of say a difference, but okay, Dallo had a field day against Lucho, didn't expose him or took him or take him on. Um, he made 3 out of 4 dribble attempts on him yesterday, or 3 out of 4 of his dribble attempts were successful yesterday. And also, not only that, like, albeit maybe like some of his shots were not like the 86-minute shot or 88th-minute shot wasn't good. The 86-minute shot was okay. 63rd minute shot got blocked, and then the
they got
36-minute shot was actually saved on that was off of a fast one was off a fast break, the other one was off a corner, um the other one was like he was got a save off of, which was the 66 minute, that was an assisted chance, and the other miss that he had was off of his own run. I just think that, like, look, we have a lot of cases where we definitely are critical of a lot of these players, um but
I did.
like
I didn't. I didn't want to. Barnes has said it, so you'll say I didn't want to bring it
Yeah,
up
yeah,
yet.
on Dallo,
I
yeah,
don't
but
know who dribbled past, so
I don't necessarily know off the top of my head
yeah,
who the
no.
dribble pass were, but I think of it as more so like I don't know. I
Look,
think
it
that
was the
he's Dan.
Diaz thing.
Luis Diaz is damned if you do, is damned if you don't. I just think that
No,
it's
no,
kind
no.
of interesting.
Can I
I just
just
think it's
say, for me, as someone who has decided to really just kind of really just sit on the fence or sit on the bus, really, in terms of this one, you know,
mm,
when everyone else goes and dukes it out in the parking lot, as you might like to say. Um, this will always be the thing. We'll play a game, and Diaz will, to me, just look like Diaz doing Diaz things,
mm,
right? And Barnes will
mm,
come in, or someone else will come in, or whoever it is, and they'll be saying they'll be really annoyed, really angry, and you'll be sitting there saying, "Yeah, but his or not you, but someone will say, yeah, but his stats are great." And I think
mm,
this is just going to be Diaz for the rest of Diaz's career. It's like, yeah, he'll be frustrating. He'll have a great game every now and again. His stats will always be brilliant. His work rate will always be brilliant. But
mm,
he'll just always be that player where, like, I don't see him turning into anything other than what he is now. He'll have great games. He's a performer, but he's never going to be elite, and he's going to frustrate and annoy a lot of fans
mm. No,
because he's,
I get you. I get
you
what you're
know,
saying.
trying to put his
I don't. I
numbers.
mean, like, I don't have a problem. I have no problem with people being, saying what they're saying, because everyone's welcome to their opinions. As am I, especially on my own channel. But like, but
No,
all the
but
same, like,
his
yeah.
numbers will always be brilliant. His stats will always be great, but he'll just be that guy that if you only go once a week and watch the game once a week, you'll be tearing his hair, or you'll be tearing your hair because he'll miss these chances. But I'm just saying,
Yeah,
this
he
is
missed
him.
his chances. He didn't connect on his
Yeah.
chances. That's something that I would like for him to, like, step up to kind of like, take away his the people that are very critical of him on that
Well, I'd
measure.
rather he
I
do it for
have
sure.
JK in the oh sorry. I was just saying, let me bring JK in real quick and I'll let you finish your point, Brian.
No, no,
Mhm.
no need to.
I'm
Hello,
bringing
JK.
JK. JK, how you
Easy
doing, brother?
guys. I'm cool, bro. Hope you're cool, bro. Brian, 12.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely so. Yeah, just doing a little vent session, also dealing with just breaking it down, trying to find some type of a happy place for all of us.
Uh-huh.
We were dealing with someone that was controversial. What was your rating for Diaz, Brian? I saw Beijing Red's rating. What was your rating?
55.
Good, and keep in mind, I mean, like I did to
55.
say, he had
No, 55.
out of
55.
all the players on this team, he had I think he had the most key passes in the game
Uh-huh.
out of all the
You said
players.
4, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying people overlook those. I mean, those four key passes were somewhere in the game.
Yeah, what did Barnes say? What did Barnes give him? Was he harsh?
He gave him a
You say
4, 3 or 4. So he gave him a 4. Wait,
I think
four.
I
He gave
thought
him a 4.
Barnes came in pretty. Yeah, he came in pretty hard. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it's uh like no blood, no foul, but I think there was blood off them. Yeah, miss.
there's
I would
definitely
say
there's definitely a scratch there.
58. Okay, 58.
Okay, okay. JK, I'll let you get a quick score on as well, since we're already done the
Mm-hmm.
lamp. We're gonna try to keep it moving, but because we got two more,
Okay.
and then there's two more particular subs that I'm sure that everyone's gonna want to talk about. But yeah, what were you feeling on? What would you have given for Diaz?
I was just chatting to my brother today, and he says, bro, that guy just lacks direction. And it's true. So I'm going to give him probably a 40 out of 100.
Okay,
Bringing
I'm
him
going to
down.
give him a
That
4 as well.
ring, dude, he's
Yeah, I
not
think
coming
that
out of this well.
yeah, I know.
That's
I mean,
bringing a
like,
ring.
I don't want to have to give him like a 70 or something like that to make these ratings go up. But I mean, my score originally for him, to be honest with you, was a 66.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I don't I think that despite a lot of people's frustrations with him, he wasn't like as an it's not like a 6 or a 60 style grade. It's still a D. If I give you a 66, that's still a D on your paper. It's still not a great grade, but it was out of all the players on this pitch, like as in he was one of the few players that you got at least something, at least a little something out of, a little something from, in my opinion.
With those numbers,
Well,
dragged down. Those numbers have dragged him down, man.
oh, I know. Oh, I know.
That killer from JK, that killed it, man. He's in the 50s now. I gave him.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So he's.
Oh, I know. But I know. JK isn't really high on Diaz. But I still want to get him. I still gonna let him. I was still gonna let him.
I tell you the truth, bro. I was actually bigging him up after the Man City game, and a lot of people were like, "What you on about? This, that, and the other." But I always back every player, and I've realized since Diaz had that family situation, each game he's played, he's got better. And the Man City game was, for me, probably one of the best games he's ever had for us. But yesterday, boy, he was sort of missing the whole game. That's hence why I gave him 4 out of 10, 40 out of 100. Yeah.
I just think that if that's like the case, then I mean, like, I understand that he got a 40. I just think that if he got a 40, then that means that some of these players, especially some of these players that we've already rated, have been getting 2s and 1s.
Yeah, maybe
because I don't think Diaz had such a poor game that he was like, you know, that if I'm just saying, I'm not going to understand what you're saying.
I know what you mean.
That's your level. If he's at a 4, okay, but then
maybe
comparatively,
12 man, maybe just when we'll finish it up, and then maybe we could get JK to just really quickly 1 to 10 go through his 11 without talking, but just to see what you would have given him.
Yeah, no problem.
I'd be interested to see just quickly do bop.
Yeah.
We'll see. We won't adjust the score.
Quick fire style. We'll do a quick fire style at the end of this. Yeah. For the ones for the people that we have that weren't here to rate, we'll give you a quick fire shooting. Basically.
Everyone pre-DI.
Yeah. So 4. I think you gave him 50 something or in the 50s. I think my
57.
57. Yeah, my 60. Okay, so I'm gonna give him a 60. Only because like that 4 knocked them down. Definitely, those 2 4s definitely knocked them down. But
it's a generous 60.
Yeah, I'm being generous because he's. I'm being generous in case I ever do fly. I'm not trying to get effed up in Colombia if I ever fly there, but which I will eventually be. I will go to Colombia one day.
Much safer.
Let's go on to Darwin. Yeah, well, there are some safer countries to go to in South America, certainly.
No, I mean, it's a much safer country than it used to be. Apparently, they've really.
Oh, absolutely. A lot better. Yeah, they've done some real efforts to try to like take away that element.
I wanted to just make sure that I corrected that, because in case Chris is listening and he comes after me on Colombia, it's a beautiful country, with amazing people,
beautiful country. Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic women, people, doctors, everything.
Yep.
Darwin,
let's go on to Darwin.
Out of your mind, Dustin. Out of your mind. No way.
Wow.
No way. No.
Tell me why you didn't in the chat, Dustin. You can tell me why you thought Darwin was a 60. Please tell me what you thought in the chat, what you gave Darwin. We're almost done these ratings. But let's get Darwin was, and that's why again I'd like to see what people rate, because if you're saying that Lucho had a game where he wasn't dialed in or something along those lines, I'd like to hear what you say about Darwin. Darwin did have an assist yesterday. He had 2 shots on target, 2 shots off target, 2 shots blocked. He was 1 out of 3 for his dribble attempts, 44 touches, 52%. Obviously, out of that 13 out of 12, 13 out of 25 passes, one of those 12 passes that he didn't connect on was a pass that ended up being a turnover that ended up resulting in a goal. He ended up huge thing. He had 3 key passes. 2 out of 9 for his ground duels, 4 out of 7 for aerial duels. Had 2 fouls, 1 tackle, and was dribbled past once. What are we saying for Darwin? Darwin gets a 4 from Bayesian Reds TV. Darwin gets a 60 again from Dustin. What's your rating on it, JK?
I'm going to give Darwin a 5 out of 10, 50 out of 100. The assist was
It's
good.
the only thing holding him up. Yeah, that
and I
bumps him up.
probably, you know what? I'll probably give him 55 because of the assist. I think when a guy gets a clean sheet, he gets a 7 or a 70 out of 100 straight away, no matter how good or bad he played. And with a striker, if he gets a goal or an assist, it should sort of boost his score up. Hence, I'll go 60 with Darwin. Yeah, because of that assist alone.
You just talked yourself from 50.
The more you keep talking, the higher you get.
I know. You talked yourself up.
You know what it is though, bro? I think Darwin just didn't look sharp. I just feel that assist, it was good. It sort of contributed for our goal score, for our team. So hence why I give him that.
What about you? What about you, Brian? What would you say?
No, he was shite. Yes, come on, let's be real. He was shite.
Yeah.
He was poor. He did nothing. He may have had some look those, but he was not a threat yesterday. He was not involved. You can get an assist by just passing the ball to somebody. It doesn't mean you were involved in the game. It doesn't mean you were part of the goal. These things. You know yourself by watching that game that he really did not impact it in any way. For me, anyway, he didn't look like.
Yeah, he didn't look sharp.
Yeah. Most of those
I noticed that in the game before as well, Brian. He wasn't.
Didn't create the chaos that we're used to.
No.
Yeah.
And then look, Barnes says assist gives him a 4. For me, otherwise he was a 3. I'd be like, to be honest, I might have given him a 4, but that decision to give that ball away in that position brings him down to a 28. I think that was one of the worst footballing decisions of the season.
It was bad. It was bad. I agree. It was bad. So 60 is kind of 4 and a 3 basically, or 28. I would have given him a 55 yesterday. I was hoping and wanting more. I would have given him a 50, but that the assist in my book does knock him up to like a 55. Because I think that despite the fact that you cannot get an assist from just a simple pass, the fact that you made that simple pass should be accredited. It is what it is.
I did. I accredited it.
I know. I'm not rating.
Bear in mind, I actually counted that into the 28.
Okay.
So,
oh wow.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Yeah, okay.
That's how much.
That's how badly he was lacking in this game for you. Okay.
But what's that thing you do? I'm trying to think of the game. It is. It's a game. But anyway, like where you're on a score, and when you make a mistake, like the worse the mistake is, the more points it costs you. So that giveaway for me was like, nah, I'm taking 20 for that. That hurt me. I'm taking 20, Darwin. I'd rather you just kick it out of play, man. Seriously, just kick it out for a throw-in or something than do that with it. So yeah, I really took a big chunk off him for that.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. I'll make it a 48. So he's in the 4s. Okay, how about that? If 50 might trigger some people out there. How about for Mo Salah? We were singing his name. When he scored that goal. I did just say, how I was disappointed that he didn't that. You could tell that he was kind of like not as engaged in the game as I would have liked for him to have been. Simply by him being offsides on that play where he ended up getting the assist. But yeah, that should have been a goal in the sense of he should have been. He's got. I mean, we're all critical of Darwin being offsides. I'll be just as equally critical of Salah being offsides for that. apart from the goal, Nilante says he was a ghost. I agree with that. I don't think he was super involved in the game. I'll give you some stats real quick because I know he got a decent involvement or decent number from SofaScore. He had 1 goal, 2 shots on target, 1 shot off target. He was successful in 1 dribble attempt. 77%. So he had 30 passes, so wasn't really engaged. 45 touches, 3 key passes, 1 out of 4 for his crosses, 2 out of 3 for long balls, 2 out of 4 for ground duels, 0 for 2 for aerial duels, and was fouled once and was offside twice. That's what I meant by like he was just that he just like it's almost like you got to know where and when to get your breathers. I get you're not up to the fitness level. I get that you're not going to be able to give that unbridled energy, and be so energetic on the pitch that you're going to be like hustling back to make sure you're not offside, to make sure that you're actively going to be an option in case something does result in a turnover, because how we press. That's how we end up getting involved. If those kind of circumstances. But yeah, he did leave something wanting. Got subbed off pretty early. I think that's a testament of his fitness levels. I think that's probably that's probably like the medical team basically telling you, hey, you got a full 90. You pressed the issue in that Sparta matchup. You didn't necessarily well, you had to actually. You might not want to have done it, but you had to because of the circumstances with the injuries. With Bobby Clark, possibly picking up a knock. But 97 minutes out of this game, got taken off a little earlier than some people expected. But yeah, I had him at I had Salah at a 65 or 64. Let me make sure. I had him at 64 in this game. What did you have him at, Brian?
Yeah, look, I think we're treading the fine line here sometimes with Mo in terms of he isn't involved, he isn't contributing. And look what happens. Even when he's not involved in a game, he scores a goal. So it's kind of like it's that, which it's like, oh, Mo, he didn't have a good game. He barely touched the ball. Yeah, but he still scored. He could have had 2. He could have had an assist. All these things. Or is it Mo isn't getting involved enough in the game? Because I think that's you want him involved in the game and you want him doing stuff. But then, okay, many other players who aren't involved in the game can't pop up with a goal like he has. So I think this is just late stage Mo Salah. The Mo Salah we were talking about earlier on came in and exploded and, broke records. That's probably not going to happen again. He doesn't have another 32 goal league season left in him, or 33 goals, or whatever it is. That's probably not going to happen again. Even as fit as he is, as quick as he still is, this is probably just more the kind of Mo. It's less explosive, less impactful, but when you look at the end of the season, when you look at the Premier League charts, when you look at all of the charts at the end of the season, most goals, most assists, he'll still be up there. So this is what I'm kind of thinking. Really, it's just this is just basically Mo at what, 31, 32, and we don't play hyper counter-attacking football like we used to. He's having to play more, in spaces against low blocks, and 1-2s and stuff. So less running in and attacking because teams are just sitting against it. So he doesn't have the space that he used to have to run in. And like, look at all Mo's best goals. How many of them are from really good counter-attacks? 1-2 touches. It's not from us breaking a team down Barcelona style or Man City style. 14 passes and then Mo. It's quick attacks, 4 against 2, like we saw there yesterday, which we'll probably get onto. But 5 against 2 on a breakaway, and Mo scores or Mane scores. That was the typical Liverpool goal. You're not that. We don't see that guy anymore. The only thing that stood out for me there was you saying he had 3 key passes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he
he had
did.
3 key passes, and Diaz had 4 key passes, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And we scored 3 goals. Now this is me. I'm not having a go.
And
I'm not having.
one of his key passes obviously was an assist. So yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not having to go at you, and I'm not having to go at stats. But what I'm saying is this is just at everybody else. Like this, like when people use stats against you, or they're trying to say, look, dig deeper into it. Dig
Mhm.
deeper, because we had 7 key passes, but we only had 3 goals. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So not every key pass. So when someone is saying, "Oh, look at these stats, look at these stats," always dig deeper into them. Don't just take them on the surface one, because we have 7 key passes, but we only had 3 goals. So always dig deeper into stats to see what's behind them as well, because that can not. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying people will use stats against you. Oh, you're doing this. Is that well? Actually, look behind, because they can use the ones that work and work for them. So
Mhm.
stats are brilliant and they help us understand things. But when people want to use them against you, like Man United fans, Chelsea fans coming out going, "Oh, he has this, he has that," on Twitter, just actually look into it a bit more and go, "Well, actually, X amount of that was against teams from the Championship, or
Mhm.
X amount of that was after you were born." You have to really look, because when people are clever with that stuff, they can make it trick you into thinking things. So, like for instance, there I was just if he has 4, we have 3. It's like, well, it makes it sound like he should have been involved in this, he should have been involved in that. But it's ghosting. I don't know what you think. Are you on the side of the line where he's not involved enough in games, or he's so lethal that even though he's not involved as much these days, he's still so crucial that he has to play? What
Yeah.
line would
I
you be on?
don't. I certainly would like to see us have a more balanced approach towards our offense. So as in, like, we don't always just cycle everything through Mo Salah. But I mean, like, as people have stated, but don't necessarily factor or rate as heavily as they do against other players. You know, he gets a high volume of the touches. He normally gets a high volume of the shots. He gets high volumes of all these different things. I know a lot of people then push back and say, "Oh, well, he's not clinical." Well, if he's not clinical, but yet he scores, which he does, then obviously we're getting production out of him, or we're getting some type of contributions out of him, but yet he's also getting that many more attempts. Like, it's like, it'll be almost like, if I make a basketball reference, but I mean, like, if it was like, if I wasn't a good 3-point shooter, but yet if you just keep feeding me 3-point opportunities, and I get to shoot them, I'm going to make some of them, and I'm going to get numbers. you know but if you keep passing the ball to me and I only get 3 attempts, and I'm lucky to make one, and that's where you go, "Oh, well, he's a terrible player, he's not clinical, or he's not a finisher and everything else." And I'm like, well, yeah, this guy got 10 shots to score, whereas I get 3. So if I score 1 out of 3, and he scores, let's say, 3 shots, 3 out of 10, yeah, he's got
You're
more
on the same.
goals than me, technically.
Well, you're
But
on the
yeah,
same.
but I'm at my conversion rate is still equal to his. If not, it's actually even better. It's
Oh, it's
33%.
better. It's just
So
above
it's
you.
30.
You're just beating him by 1/3 of it. Yeah. If he
Yeah.
scored 4,
So,
you beat you. But
yep.
it's like,
That's like, I get the stats can always be held against you or different that,
but for
just like
me,
you said. Yeah.
can I just say, like, before he was injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you love your numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before he was injured, so it's going back a little while now anyway. So it's pre-AFCON, all that. He
Mm-hmm.
was involved in, and we were top of the league, I think, 58% of our open play goals in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yeah.
58% of the goals that we scored were either scored by him or assisted by him. Now that's
Right.
direct involvement, not
Mm-hmm.
not key pass. That's either score or assist.
Mm-hmm.
58%, and we were top of the league.
No, I get that. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, how once you might look at it and go, yeah, it's biased this, and I'm guilty of doing the same. But I know for as well as anyone that when he leaves, our numbers, it's going to be difficult. It's a job to replace. Like no one will be. He's a not once in a lifetime because we've had that, but he's a one-off, that guy. So we need to start spreading the load better across to prepare for when he does go, because you can't just leave a gap like that and take it out.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think it's just sometimes, I think sometimes our impressions of a player can sometimes like not have the same scales. That's what I'm trying to get across. Sometimes it seems like, sometimes when it comes to the way that we rate or way that we go and approach certain players, they don't necessarily, it's almost like someone's got their thumb on the scale, sometimes for some players and not for others.
It's just for the people who are kind of thinking, oh, do we need him anymore? Just don't worry. When he leaves, you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a drop off, and it's going to be like, God forbid, the next guy who comes into inverted commas replace him. Good luck with
that. So, what would you give him, Salah, and what would you give him? Real quick, what were your ratings for Salah, guys? Brian, what was yours? And then JK, what was yours?
50.
50. Okay. What was your JK?
Likewise.
50. Okay. Well, okay. Cool. I had him at a 53. So, but I'll concede to the panel and give him a 50.
But Salah possesses that power where he might have a bad game, but it'll pop up with a goal or assist or something. And that's what happened when he came off yesterday. That sort of went, if you understand my point.
Definitely.
That's
how good he is for me.
Yeah.
I think we just need to get on to your favorite player, JK. I think that's all this needs now.
I know who you're talking about.
All right. So we're into the subs. We're into these subs. Yeah. We're into the substitutes. What's that?
No, I've seen some thumbnails, with a certain player's name in them today. I've just seen them. So,
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm not going to bring up these subs. I know that it's just hearing Brian say that. I'm not going to bring them up in order of them coming in. I'll leave the two that are the most controversial. But I'm just going to go real quick through these subs so we can keep it under or around the 2-hour mark here. For Connor Bradley, I gave Connor a 60. What was your rating for Connor in this game? I might even be swayed to push him down one more, if anything. But what was your rating for Connor? Whoops.
Yeah, quickly, I'd give him a 50. I don't know, but yeah, I'll just 50. 50.
Yeah. Same as.
Yeah, 50. I could say, considering that he was involved, he could have been a hero. He could have been a hero and on that final goal that was scored on us, but he wasn't. I'm cool with giving him a 50. All right, let me make sure I have this all straight. So let's go at 50. How about for Simicast?
50.
I gave Simicast a 51. Yeah. My fault. I gave Simicast a 51. Got on the pitch, didn't really do much, but didn't do what I was expecting him to do. What would you give him, Simicast? We'll go Brian
50.
and JK. 50.
Yeah, 50 for me.
Yeah, same as.
Okay. I'll just leave it at 51 then, since it was already in the graphic here. And I think we're going to squabble over at one point. How about Bobby Clark?
Didn't notice him really.
Yeah.
Just give him 40.
He didn't get that many minutes, to his credit. He got subbed in on the 114th minute. Only got 9 minutes of play. Let's say Bobby Clark. I mean, it's tough for him not to come on those situations. I was going to give him a 52 or something, but I don't. Let's just move past Bobby Clark and move on to the man that ended up being a hero and then being the heel at the same time. Harvey Elliott, ringlets. What are you doing? What are you rating ringlets at?
What color?
Oh, Brian, or me?
Ringlets are the hairstyle. That's what Dakota was saying. At least I think that's what she was calling it. Spaghetti, or she called it ramen noodles or something too. But
noodle head, yeah.
No, I was calling you guys were calling it a perm, but I said it's not a perm. Like it's like the opposite of a perm, and basically the kids don't call it perm, but the kids like
Moppy.
it's not. But they're called ringlets. They're not bangs. They're like a mix between ringlets and bangs. Who cares? Look.
What did you give Harvey Elliott? What did you rate Harvey Elliott?
His hair's low, 2 out of 10.
I know.
We used to score that goal. Look, I said I'm not criticizing us too much for scoring that goal or them, because that was the archetypal Liverpool goal.
It was.
Corner for the opposition, closing down on Elliott. Elliott was just closed down on. Right, I don't think Elliott necessarily made a massive mistake in that. He was just closed down by someone who was quicker to ball than him, and that's what broke it. And that's what we used to love. We were talking about earlier on, kind of goal that we would score with Salah. We would create a breakaway from a situation like that, and next thing you know, it's Salah and Mane bursting down the pitch, and we've broken out. So I wasn't going to really overly criticize them in terms of conceding that goal. Elliott that was involved in it. Endo, yeah. But it was, look, it's just what we used to do to teams. So you do it right, it's hard to stop. Look, I think the other mistake that was made was, there was 2 other mistakes that were made that were more impactful than that. And I just think Harvey was just unlucky, and he was beat by a player switched on more, and that can happen, and they broke away. But other than that, he kind of didn't. I've looked back at that thing that I was blaming him for, and I don't, the 5-on-2, I don't think he had much choice. I think it was Gakpo that played poor pass to him that he should have done way before someone else. So that looked really bad for Elliott, and I was marking him down for that. But I've changed since I watched that before we came on. I think that was actually Gakpo's fault, really. Elliott had nothing else that he could have done. But even then, so I'm just going to give him he got the goal, so give him a 60. But I wouldn't blame him at all, really, for the Man United goal. I wouldn't. I just think that was just well done by them, because we used to do that all the time. We go, look how brilliant we are. So
60. All right. 60, all right. JK, what would you give them?
Yeah, 60, bro. I think that where he got the goal, he looked energetic. I feel he was just sort of closed down too quick on that last part of the, when they scored their 4th. I feel that if we were losing, fair enough, there's going to be space at the back. But because we were drawing, I think we should have left another guy at the back, just in case. I think we made a mistake there.
Okay. I had Harvey at a 55. But I can say how will we keep him at 55? I know you guys gave him 60s. I think Dustin gave him a 50 or a 70. We can give him a 60. Give him a 60. We'll give ringlets since we got the lowdown on what the kids call a perm.
Let's check back. I'll have a look back.
He got a tight perm, but he's got like a loose perm.
Yeah, he said
Yeah,
7.
70s.
He said
Whatever
7.
it is. Yeah, he gave 70. Okay, so that ranges into my 55 gets thrown out. His 70 gets thrown out. Your 60s are the ones that stand. So we'll give him a 60. How about now then for the man who said should have given him a better pass? Cody Hackbo played 43 minutes, had one shot blocked, had one dribble attempt that he was successful in, had 24 touches, 11 out of 14 for passing, had one key pass. That was, I guess, the key pass probably to Harvey on that break. 0 for 1 on crosses, 4 for 7 for ground duels, 0 for 3 for aerial duels, and let's see, was fouled twice. I guess the pink boots were attracting Red Devils, and had one tackle and was dribble pass once. That's all the stats he has for Cody. Nothing
Okay.
exceptional.
Okay,
What are you
I'll
going to
take the
put
floor,
for him?
I'm his lawyer, Cody Gapkills. Brother, get rid of the pink boots. They worked for one game, and they didn't work yesterday again. Oh man, he didn't really do nothing when he came on the pitch.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. Maybe he should have even started the game. I think him, Darwin, and Salah on Thursday played pretty well together.
Mhm. They did.
They did some good teamwork on Thursday. He didn't start yesterday. Maybe he was disappointed. I don't know. Maybe he thought he was going to start. I personally think he should maybe started before Darwin. Darwin didn't look fit. He hasn't in the last 2 games.
I would have with hindsight, yeah, I wouldn't have minded that actually, despite the fact that he didn't play the greatest or great. You know what? If we given Cody maybe a real solid run at center forward, and then try to use Darwin as that spark plug to kind of like bring the hammer down type thing. Especially when you saw United switch to the formation that they were doing, where they basically only had 2 defenders.
Exactly.
That would have been the ideal time to see someone that you could try to get something out of from that case. That's not Cody Hackbo time in the essence.
Yep.
What were
And I
you
think, yeah.
what would you have given him then?
I'm giving Cody a 4, bro. A 40 out of 100. Maybe even
Okay.
a 30. That's how bad he was
No,
yesterday.
stick with
But
your 30.
we were sort of desperate yesterday,
Yeah.
when they sort of equalised, and when we needed that third goal, So when they equalised, and then they scored another goal, and I thought, oh goodness, that's what I was on about the Salah thing, where Salah maybe shouldn't have played so long on Thursday. He played nearly 90 minutes on Thursday, and I think yesterday would have been better if we just left him on. If you understand my point.
Yeah. What were you going to give him, Brian?
I would, but yeah, I'd be kind of reluctant to criticize him too much because of how much he's had to kind of endure the last couple of months.
He's been a scapegoat for a lot of people lately. In games that we're not necessarily losing, just in games in general, has been a big scapegoat for some reason.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah, perhaps, but also his loss of form, his loss of confidence, his loss of a place in the team. Just more on a kind of personal level for him. Because he's a scapegoat. The scapegoats are scapegoats because they're easy. Easy to point out, and he has been. It's unavoidable. But I feel sorry for him just on a personal level in terms of how he's playing, because the guy, I feel this is almost ridiculous because he could lose a leg and he'd still be 10 times better football than I'll ever could have been. That's so, like for me to, he's not that great, but like it really has dropped off a lot for him. And I think confidence in these things snowball. But then that really is what ends up with what we're talking about tonight, which is just specifically, as I try and do it, like just specifically talking about the game yesterday in terms of rating player, but it bleeds into what happened. But this is kind of, if someone said, "Oh, how's Cody Gakpo been playing this season?" Well, we'll just look at that 45 minutes.
I get it. I get you. Man got subbed on, played right mid, played right wing, played right mid, played right wing, played center forward. Okay.
Yeah,
got switched. At one point, he was playing left wing, then got moved back to center forward. I mean,
I get it. He's played
in one game. That's in one game, by the way, people.
Yeah, he's played midfield for us more than probably any other position. But that's a kind of that's the problem. It's like, we'll try him here, put him there, move him here, put him there, put him back, put him here, put him there.
Yep.
It's always just constantly being moved around.
Yep.
And like I say, it's like if you go into work and there's 8 or 9 different stations at your work, they're all vaguely the same. It's the same product at the end of the day, but you do your thing. You work at number 2. Someone comes in and like that's what you do. You do the thing that they do at number 2 station. But someone asks you, "Oh, will you work 8 this day and work 6 tomorrow and 4 tomorrow?" Constantly moving you around. It's like, no, I'm a number 2 guy. That's where I want to be. But they constantly, "Oh no, you're the guy that gets moved all the time." So you'll never be the best. There'll always be someone else that comes in and just he's ahead of you. He's the main guy in this position. So all of this is adding up into a performance like that yesterday, which is, look, it's not up to the standard. If that's what's going to happen, if that's how he's going to play, if the confidence is gone, if he can't get his confidence back, if he's not able, if it's too much for him, if the pressure is too much for him. If he just needs to play for a smaller club, where he can be the main man, there's less pressure on him. It's not all stuff like this. Maybe that's the road ahead for him. But I don't see where there's not a clear path for him at the moment. I think the new manager, a new manager is going to be probably the best thing for him.
Yeah,
because it'll be a clean slate for everybody, and he'll get sat down, and everyone will sit down and go, right, I want you to do this, and he'll be told, I want you, I don't want you, you need to earn your place, or whatever it might be. Everyone will be getting a different conversation with the new manager. You're my guy, you're not my guy, you need to earn your place, I love you, you're a great young player, you're in my plans, but you won't play, so do you want to go on loan? Everyone will have a conversation. So what will his one be? That's to be found out. But he needs a clean slate, and the manager coming in. I don't know if it was a mistake for Klopp to buy him, but he definitely needs someone to come in and go, "Oh yeah, you're my guy for left wing, and that's just what's happening." Cool, great, let's go. Just that bit of confidence. It's for me. This is 1000% confident.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And I think the Avalanche, since yesterday's game, the amount of crap people are aiming towards Gapco. Listen, bro, we don't need to tell Gapco he had a poor game or he's had a few poor games.
Yeah.
That guy knows him before us. It's like some supporters don't realize players actually know they play crap. It's like, come on, what the fuck are you? Yeah.
No, like
why are you wasting your time?
As if Darwin Núñez needed to be told you shouldn't have hit the post 4 times. Darwin Núñez is going home and smashing up some stuff.
Yeah,
this is Darwin Núñez.
Harvey Elliott is probably Harvey Elliott is probably probably livid with himself.
Yeah.
I'm sure, despite him being on the high that he was on, he's probably livid with himself. So is Darwin. He knows these players know what they did or what they've done in the game. They know their levels, certainly. They all know they could play better.
Come on,
I will go home this game, and they all know that the competition was subpar, and yet they allowed for this team to get a result. And if you allow for a team to hang around, which we should have put this game to bed a long time ago, if you allow for any team to hang around, guess what? There's always a chance that something bad could happen. and that's exactly what did. Do you want to say, Brian? I heard you want to say something, Brian.
No, I was just saying.
You can say something too.
If I was playing a friendly game of Thursday night 5-a-side and I missed an unbelievable chance, 2 days later, I still think I should have scored that goal. What do you think it's like for someone like Darwin? He doesn't need someone on Twitter telling him you should have scored that goal. He doesn't need you to tell him that. This is his, and that's just me in a friendly 5-a-side. This is his living. This is his currency. This is what he.
I still think about intramural games that I missed a shot.
Games 15 years ago.
Those games
those games 15 years ago.
In an intramural game, you pay to play. You know.
Yeah. I can remember. Yeah, there's chances I remember it missing in games that must be 15 years ago now, and they still bug me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So someone like Nunes, massively pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I played ball on Friday. I played football on Friday, and I took a shot, and it sort of dipped, and it hit the top of the bar. Yeah. Later on in that evening, I was thinking, if I hit that shot 5% not harder than I did, that would have gone in. I was even thinking about it yesterday. You know, and that's football. You know, you always think about it.
You do always think about it. Wait, let me make sure I got these ratings right. So wait, Brian, what was your score for Cody?
40. 38.
38. Okay.
35.
No, this isn't an auction. This isn't a reverse auction.
I'm going to take you on then.
I know. No, you do what you want. I know you're thinking out loud. I know. I'm messing with you.
Yeah, we have to give JK his quick fire few at the end.
Yeah, that's why I want to get to it. That's why. So I was going to say 38. JK, what'd you have for Cody?
30.
30. Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I had I had him at a 55 or 50, excuse me. I had him at 50. And you have him at 30, so let's put him at let's put him at a 40. Let's put him at a 40. Let's put him at a 40 then. I saw one of the I think Nolante had him at actually has like a 60. So
Dustin probably popped in an L80 there earlier on when we weren't looking.
No. I don't think Dustin had that high.
Dustin made a good comment about Gomez quickly about the mental health side. Like last season, people.
I can bring that up. That up. Hold on.
That's a top comment.
Yeah. He spoke about here. It says Dustin says last season people went on Joey and ended up talking about mental health. And he referenced how he backed them. You know, there are those of us that definitely understand what that's like. We've either gone through it ourselves or have people or loved ones that have gone through mental health struggles. It's not an easy thing. It affects everyone one way or another. And it's about the community. It's about the community recognizing that and doing their best to try to make it a better place for us all.
Hysteria doesn't do you any favors, you know. Hysteria is football is proper hysteria. It's crazy out there now. Man's are doing shows.
No, at the same time though, this is going to sound like a grumpy dickhead, but don't try and point score off it though. I'm not talking to either you guys. I mean, people that are out there going, you know, that's what they're a lot of times. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he was going through something. Oh, see, I told you. Look, dude, just chill out, man. You know, I was always right about it. It's like, look, just okay, be cool. There's no need to try and use it. I was always right. Because a lot of this stuff still, this is what really annoys me about this crap is like people have recognized that and that's what's going on, but then they're also trying to use it then. You know, it's like, look, that's just his life, man. You know, that's everyone's life. Like we were speaking about things in the game earlier on. There's like 10,000 professional footballers. You think they're all happy? You think they're all cool? You think their all lives are perfect?
No, everyone's level of being able to cope and deal with the pressures of life is always certainly different. You know, certainly so. But yeah.
We're gonna get.
I don't know. There's no player. I don't even want to go into a player of the match. I'm not. Obviously, there's no player of the match in this game. I don't think it's.
Are we doing a Klopp? Are we doing a Klopp?
Yeah.
Was
That's who I was
Yeah.
going to bring up last. Hold on 1 second. Let me wanted to make
not
sure
a
I
good
had.
day for the Boston overall, was it? See the stuff after,
No.
JK. See all the
Yeah.
Yeah,
nonsense afterwards.
I did too. I'm gonna bring up some of his state. I was gonna bring up Klopp, but how about this? Let's go quick fire, go through your ratings again. For Kelleher, Gomez, Kwanzaa, VVD, Robbo, Endo. When did you I'm trying to think when you got into. I think you got in right on Salah. I think you got in to the
Everyone
ratings.
pre-Diaz. Everyone
We're
pre-Diaz.
going up to Diaz.
Yeah. I could do. I got the team in front of me.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
Kelleher.
this rifle him off like as in your ratings.
Bang bang.
These obviously
Yeah.
are after the buzzer, but still all the same. Like just so you have them in the record.
Okay, Kelleher.
And then I'm gonna bring up Jurgen Klopp. I'm gonna bring up some of his statements, and then we can all rate him as well. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll give Kelleher 60 out of 10. Made some good saves. Gomez, tired looking, 60 out of 10, out of 100. Kwanzaa, also a 60 out of 100. Virgil, maybe a 55 out of 100. Robertson, a 60 out of 100. Mac, 70 out of 100. Endo, also a little bit tired looking, 60 out of 100. Sabotsalai, could have done more. I just feel like 50 out of 100. And then you got
JK
Diaz,
went high.
like for me. Yeah.
Yeah, you went high. Yeah, that was at least 15 higher than all of mine in the back line. Yeah, you would up the average there a lot, man. He went high, didn't he?
Yeah.
I tell you the truth, I want to give the whole back four defense.
He said he was going to watch it. He said he was going to watch it over. I remember. I don't know if you did or didn't, but I know you said because I remember we were going on about. I spoke about how like your Dom, you were very critical of Dom, so I asked you to definitely try to take a different look or take another look at it. But
yeah, what it was, I was gonna watch because normally I would watch the game straight away after or later on, and I couldn't do it last night, so I'm gonna probably watch it again today and just see. I'll probably even change my ratings, but you know what it was yesterday's game that last 10 minutes from United sort of fucked up everyone's fucking brains, man. It was just like, what was going on.
How about so here in America, there's a show called Cheers, and it was a very very popular show. I think it was during the 80s. It was like it was either during the 80s or like maybe early 90s. Very, very popular show. There was a point where there was a patron of Cheers. Whenever he would show up, everyone would go, Norm. Yeah. That was like the thing. So that's
Cheers.
I'm trying to get the pop culture reference. That's what I was trying to do, just in case.
Cheers.
No,
Cheers is massive over here. Everyone grew up.
Oh, is it?
Cheers
Okay.
We got Cheers. We got Cheers.
Okay, cool.
We got it.
I was just making sure. Yeah. I know sometimes there's some shows that I might say and it might go over the heads of others simply because you guys don't.
But Cheers is like Friends. Cheers was like the original Friends. Like I know it created Fraser, but it was like Cheers was big in America and it was big everywhere as well. That was
it was huge everywhere. Yeah.
And Dustin, I wasn't directly having a go at you. I know it did sound like that. I wasn't directly having a go at you, right? But I know it did sound like about the point scoring thing. But it was just the way you phrased it made me think of other people online doing that stuff. Yeah, I know Fraser was a spin-off, which they brought back again now.
They just brought it back. Yeah, they have like him living with his son or something like that or something. Fraser, you can, it's not my most favorite show, but like
it's a bit clever club.
It's yeah.
It's a bit clever club. It's funny, but it is a bit.
It sucks because like sometimes you don't want to get we speak on it. I don't like getting politics involved. I don't agree with a lot of the politics at Frasier, not the show, but the actual actor has. But all the same.
Oh, Kelsey Grammer. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. So with Klopp, we got Jurgen Klopp.
Cliff was funny too. You're right about that, by the way. Cliff, I have Jurgen Klopp ready. Yeah, I'm ready for Jurgen. But Cliff was funny. Cliff and Norm together. where they should have made, if they had any spinoff, a Cliff and Norm spinoff would have been funny. That would have been funny because then you would have seen the reason why Norm is never at home for with his wife.
Yeah.
And then you would have seen
George went, right? George went and Phil Ratzenberger. It's definitely Ratzenberger. George went as Norm, and it even been Cliff Ratzenberger. But it's Ratzenberger was his name. And then you had Woody, of course. Obviously, Woody.
Oh, Woody, yeah. Woody's funny.
Carl was like.
I actually would have liked. It's unfortunate. I mean, Coach died. He passed away while the show was still like, that's why they brought Woody in because of the passing of Coach. Coach was hilarious. Coach was hilarious.
Most people don't remember Coach. Most people don't remember Coach. They remember because when it got big over here. In fairness, when it got big over here, it was Woody.
It was Woody Harrelson.
It took because it had to get big in America before it came over here. So and then obviously Ted Danson was probably in like a big movie or something because he was a big star then. Ted Danson was a big star then.
Oh yeah. When
it came over here, we knew him from movies.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley, Ted Danson,
Shelley Long.
They all got very, very big, very, very popular because of that show. Strictly because of that show. Yeah.
And when they had to go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
No,
finish your thought. I know we can talk about. Well, I can talk about Cheers for a long time. I love Cheers. Cheers is really, really good.
Normally when they try and change it and introduce a new character, they mess it up. It becomes worse.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
In Cheers, that didn't really because
I did not know that.
You remember when they opened the French restaurant upstairs? Do you remember that was a new thing they brought? Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Normally, even the French guy was hilarious. Even when they did that, that would have been good enough to be a sitcom on it. And that was
they could have branched off into that. I still think to this day it would have been actually really, really good to have the Norm and Cliff spinoff, because they're almost like Bert and Ernie almost. They don't live together, but they practically do by being at the bars so much time. But anyways, I don't want to get too far. I don't want to get too far on a rant or on a tangent because we could talk about Cheers, but maybe we'll have an episode on the break. We can bring up one of our favorite. We can bring up like a sitcom. What's one of our favorite sitcoms and stuff. That would be kind of cool. Making the world, making your way in the world today takes everything you got. It does. Making the world today, or making the world yesterday, took everything we had, and it just wasn't enough. But all right, let me get to these quotes. Let's see. I have some good quotes here for you guys, and I wanted to make sure I brought them out. Virgil van Dijk says, "We've only got ourselves to blame, especially after how good we have been so far this season." I think he says, "Time for internationals. Then we're back to give it everything we have." That's like you can't ask for much more than that. That's at least Virgil's cognitive to say that what he understands and recognizes as the captain. If you're he's got to take responsibility, and he knows that yesterday wasn't good enough. Lucho, let's get some of the bad news out of the way, considering because this is what Jurgen Klopp spoke on. He said Lucho felt his groin, Darwin felt his hamstring, and they're both saying hopefully it's not bad. That's what Jurgen's saying. Those are some of the reasons why you saw them. The reasons why they, had to take off Lucho, and Darwin playing through that was I don't want to see Darwin get, go down with an injury. We can't afford that at all. He spoke on Cody. I know that everyone was very critical of Cody, but Cody twisted his ankle in the game yesterday. He says Cody twisted his ankle. They play again in 4 or 5 days. It's crazy. Hopefully we will finish the season in style. He says, I really feel for our people. In a few weeks, we can come again and we can give it another try. There was also a mention that he brought out the point of you cannot compare our seasons to United's with the amount of games. It's fine. And he says it's fine. We deal with it. So you know how people are going to be. As soon as you say a statement like that, they're going to say, oh, trying to make excuses, or oh, woe is me, you know, the whole nine, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, if you do look at the numbers, it is kind of crazy. 18 games. Liverpool played 18 games since 2024, since January 2024. We've played 18 games. United have played 12. In the last 16 days, we played 5 games. So that's close to almost like basically a game every 3 days.
This is one of the reasons Klopp is leaving. This is like it won't even be like that if you were to ask him, you know, what's your number one reason for leaving, or like number 1 to 5. It's not that he would write down the number of games we're asked to play, but all 5 of the reasons that he would be putting down would be linked to that in a way. Does anyone want to time that guy out? Any mods in the chat? No.
Yeah, any mods in the chat, you can definitely time someone if they're spamming it or whatever. I don't know if he's having a problem with his, because it looks like he's trying to write a word or something.
Well, yeah, I hope he's not trying to write what I think he's trying to write. So, but yeah, what was I saying? That knocked me off there. What was I saying about Klopp?
You're saying that this is the reason why you could see that.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he did look why this could be he's tired. He looks tired, or just seems like he's just exhausted from this as well.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's making him sick of football. Like, this guy just needs a year off. This guy absolutely, like, and the fact that all of the things that he wants to do, I keep freaking going back to this. He did an interview years ago, and he was being praised. This was probably 2017-18. We were going toe to toe with Man City, and hang on, people were saying, "Oh, you're playing amazing football," and all this stuff. You and Pep Guardiola, breath of fresh air. And he was saying, "Oh yeah, nice one, Jack." He was saying, "Oh, you think this is good? Can you imagine what we would do if we had just 2.5, 3 months off in the summer? You think the football Pep is putting out? You think you think it's good now? You should imagine what we see if it gave us time for proper training camps, all this time to train players and work on our stuff. Because we're doing this," he says, "on the bare minimum of time. We're doing stuff that should take 8 weeks. We're doing it in 5 weeks. And if there's another tournament, we're doing something that should take 8 weeks. We're doing it in 3 weeks. Because they have to do fitness stuff." He said there's just no time. He knows he could get amazing teams playing way better. But they just don't have, and that must be a huge frustration, knowing that him and Pep, they're losing these players for crazy competitions every 6 months, and they can't really show the best of what they can do. Because that quote will always stick in my mind when he said to that reporter, "You should see what we will be able to give you in terms of the quality of football if you just gave us a proper preseason." You think this is good?
No, but that's why. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was going to add to your point just to say that's why I can't admit or can't agree more about how a lot of us look. I love the fact that we're getting a lot of football. The fact that I get to see this team play quite often. I'm over the moon about that. But I also, in the back of my mind, know, well, what is it worth? Like, is it better to have the quantity or is it better to have the quality? You know, and like for me, I shade towards more of the quality than the quantity. If it means I'm only going to get to see this team play once as opposed to 2, if not sometimes 3 times in a week or something, you know, I don't want to have that kid, or not 3 times, but close to 3 times in a week. You know, I don't want that because that's not going to be the end product. It's not going to be the level that we want to see. You're going to see tired players. You're going to see a lot of injuries. It's
Yeah, no. I was disagreeing with you. Yeah, injuries. You're going to see it all. This is what must eat him up. Going.
Oh yeah.
They're asking kids to do. They're asking these young boys to go and play.
I think what's eating him up even more. eating up
Yeah, go ahead.
eating them up even more so, Brian, could be the case that they're going to be asking for more.
Yes.
It'd be one thing if this is like the level of where we're expecting. Okay, they're talking about wanting to do the World Cup like every 2 years instead of every 4. They're looking to do they're looking to make they're looking to add games to Champions League, not take away.
You know what?
They're looking to,
You know what?
they're looking to bring in more competitions.
But you know what got
Exactly.
snuck in last week? Sorry, just on that point. You know what got snuck in last week? They made the under-17 World Cup, which is where a lot of our players are, right? The best at that level. They've made that either every year or 2 years. The under-17 World Cup. I think it's every year or every
That's
2 years.
dangerous too, though.
And that's for all our young kids. Yeah, that's for all our young kids. And just one more point. You know the way we've been talking about Harvey Elliott, right? Having 100 senior appearances for Liverpool, and how that's incredible for a player that young. And that's not even talking about the other appearances for Fulham and Blackburn. And he's 20, 21. That kid that Barcelona just brought in, Roque Jr., he already has over 100 senior appearances by the time he's 18.
That's mad.
I know it's Brazil, but it's senior football. By the time he's 18, it's the same with that kid Hendrick, that Real Madrid are buying. He's only 16. By the time he's 18, 19, he's going to have played 80, 90 games of senior football.
That's scary. It's very scary.
Mad. Yeah.
It's very scary because
exactly what Norman said about extra games.
Yeah, he says. Norman says, would anyone agree with him that the quality of football internationally or anywhere professionally will suffer due to more games in World Cup, European Cups, all in the name of greed? Completely agree with that. What Dustin says, Klopp on the roster, when he arrived and the player and they played him 3 times a week with the U17s or something, if you treat them like horses, you will get horses.
Yeah.
Wow. There was a comment that I wanted to bring up by Dustin too here. He asked a question. He says, question, would you put us losing to Athletica at Anfield, excuse me, at Anfield 3-2 at extra time in 2019, 2020. People always talk about Adrian, but I felt we just looked knackered. We were just knackered after 2 all the way seasons in the Champions League. Do you think that was the reason why that we looked the way we did against
This game was played 4 years ago, man. Dustin, I mean.
No, I think he's trying to say, like, do you think that going by what we're saying about how we've just going on these long runs, going on these long trips of being engaged in all these different competitions, going the distance in a lot of these competitions, is it that maybe we just at times with all the games that are involved nowadays with the schedule, could it be a case of
it's just fair play to Dustin's memory because I just like to say fair play to Dustin's memory because I don't remember that exact game. This stuff this is what I'm talking about with Klopp, is just these guys are kind of despairing at what's going on around them, and they've won it all so they can walk away. But the demands on these players, if you don't understand, just look at how much money FIFA make from World Cups. There's no, there's no surprise
they beat us 4-2. They beat us 4-2 in that in aggregate in that year, by the way, too. I do remember that was the year that we. I do remember that. Bobby scored in that game. Wijnaldum scored in that game, but that was the game that they had. we were up 2-0 going in that game that he's speaking of, and I think that's the primary one of the reasons why he's bringing that up. We were up 2-0 in that game, and then in extra time they scored because they were up 1-0 from before on the aggregate on the game before that, and this was the second leg was at Anfield, and then we were up. Wijnaldum knotted it up at 1-1, and then Bobby put us ahead at 2-1 technically on aggregate at the 94th minute, and then in the 97th minute they scored. Then 106th minute they scored, and then which put it into extra time, and then 106th minute they scored, and then 121st minute they scored, and then by that time he's saying we were just kind of running on fumes already, pretty much, and by that time we just couldn't we just flailed somewhat in that extra time period, and we controlled a good bit of that game. 34 shots. I'm looking at some of these stats. 34 shots to their 10. We had 72% of the possession.
It's a classic snatch and grab.
Yeah, we had 16 corners. We had 16 corners to their 3. Again, that number always to me, whenever I try to gauge who's really putting a concerted effort towards offense, is usually the battle of corners will tell you who's really getting the better of the two. Of momentum, at least.
The more you attack, the more corners you're going to end up getting.
Yeah.
It makes sense. What I would say is Klopp has faced these accusations since day one. There was I don't know how far back some people go, but there was a really famous guy on Twitter, and he had a kind of a Norwegian name or something like that, and he just had the egg as his profile, and he was a sports physiotherapist guy, and from day one he basically became a bit of a sensation on Twitter for criticizing Klopp, saying he's going to break players every time he overtrains, he asks too much, he's going to break players, and every time someone would get an injury he'd be like, look, see what happens. And he come out, Raymond Verhaven, Dutch guy, the Twitter egg. He was on it from day one, and that's always been a thing that Klopp has had to kind of basically say or fight up against. But when you see the first game, Adam and Lallana coming off the pitch against Tottenham, collapsing into Klopp's arms, and everyone's like, yeah, that's Klopp football. It's like, well, okay, you're not. Yeah, you can see where the accusations would come from, that he tried too hard, tried to get too much out of him. I said it, Fabinho was 29, but he had the legs of a 33-year-old just because of 4 years on the clock. The guy's barely kicked the ball since. He's had to go to Saudi Arabia. And he wasn't 50 when he left. He was still a young enough player. He was not much older than Fernandinho was when Man City bought him. Not when he left, then when Man City bought Fernandinho. And he became one of the best DMs in the Premier League. Klopp undoubtedly puts a hell of a lot of miles on players' legs.
Yeah.
You can't deny it. You cannot deny it. So that's why you need that good medical team behind us and all of that. That's why someone like Milner, someone like Henderson, they're gold. Milner and Henderson are gold to a manager like Klopp. They can run all day and they almost never get injured. Someone like Mo Salah runs all week, never gets injured. Mane was pretty good for not getting injured as well. Robbo isn't injury prone. So he had players that could do it. But I would say, if you were to ask players, they would say, oh yeah, I played for a few managers. I'm playing for Klopp. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's turned up to 90. Like Bielsa was famous for, turned it up to 90. Played murder ball. I don't know if anyone knows about Bielsa's murder ball, where you just played until you got sick. He forced players to play football until basically people were puking. So some of these guys are crazy. yeah, some of them might like, not having to play the kind of club football in some respects, but it's winning football. Got us everything we need to
It
get.
is. It is. It's where
Yeah.
it's the kind of football that we've come to love. Norman says, so Brian, would you say then that Klopp type football requires a quicker turnover of players than has been like keeping Milner and Fab too long? That's a real quick
That's the
question, because I want
contradiction.
to make sure that we get the
Really, really good question.
Klopp's
That is,
rating.
yeah, no, that's a really good question. It is, because, yeah, you need those guys, but if you don't turn them over and find the next one, you're kind of doing yourself down. Yeah, I think that was maybe the problem, that he didn't really place those guys earlier. Because, yeah, everything I said, it requires something special. But when those guys are 32, like Miller was old when we got him.
Mm-hmm.
Miller had played for basically every club in the Premier League by the time we got him. He played for City, Villa, Newcastle, Leeds, Aston Villa. I said, but he'd been everywhere. And then we got him. We put another 200,000 miles on. Yeah, it's got to be hard.
So what was you? So speaking of the Kaiser,
four, because he didn't turn around at halftime, and the shenanigans afterwards meant that he lost his brain a little bit. So I think he had a bad day yesterday.
Okay. Jurgen gets a what from you, JK?
Also about a 4, because I think he maybe could have not started Darwin, maybe started Gakpo, and then bring Darwin on when and needed and stuff. Also, the timing of the substitutions sort of weird as well. Should have Bradley started and Gomez at left back, and say Bradley starting at right back, because Bradley's done well for us. Maybe him coming on later on in the game sort of surprised him a bit. When you start off a game, you're more set and you know what you're doing. And I think he came on the pitch, maybe he was a bit flustered, the whole situation against United at the end of the game. But for me, Klopp didn't really have a top game yesterday. So I'm giving him a 40 out of 100 as well. Yeah.
Okay. I can understand a lot of what you guys are saying. I think that I would have given him a 5 out of 10, but or 50 out of 10, 50 out of 100. But you guys gave him a 40, right? So
yeah, I give him a 4.
How about we go with 45? So
Dustin's coming with
an 80. I'm sure. Is that what he said? Oh, he did? Okay.
That's for the starting lineup. Starting lineup was like every fan was happy when they seen that lineup. Come on.
Yeah. We were.
Yeah, no, you know what? You're right. No one, not one of us would have said, "Hey, that lineup made any." I don't think any of us really were like, "Hey, that lineup, he got it all wrong" or something. Hindsight, yes, we could all say he got it wrong, but looking at that lineup, I thought that we all said it in itself. It pretty much picked itself, like as in our midfield, that's the best midfield we could put out there. Our front line, that was honestly our best front line we could have put out there. We all said that Cody's not in form right now, so that's not the guy that we will be looking at going with. Albeit we could have done something different maybe by trying to, like, if Diaz's fitness was at the level that it was going to affect him not being able to do Diaz style chaos, as a lot of people like to say it, then start Cody and then bring in Diaz for the minutes that you can get out of him. But I don't think anyone really had a problem with the lineups that we started. There are a lot of people that were asking for Gomez to start. There are a lot of us that understood the reason why Robbo was starting, considering that he understands the gravity of the game. Konate obviously would have started if he was healthy, but he wasn't available, so you have to go with Kwanzaa. And that was the only position that was a question mark, was if Kwanzaa really was going to start or not. If Konate was healthy, would he have started? But other than that, Yeah, he got it all right on the lineup start. It's just that, hey, he just said the guys on that pitch just weren't engaged the way we would have wanted to see them to be engaged, and it is what it is.
I'd be
So mhm.
Dustin is he's saying I have no problem with Klopp's decisions. We were minutes from winning twice with many games. He looked okay with so many games. With so many games, he looked tired. And I'm
I know, and I do know that
totally
Konate wasn't on the bench listed too. By the way, I'm just saying
no,
he
and
wasn't available.
I'm totally in agreement with Dustin saying, but like what I'm saying is I'm just being a bit like kind of what's the word? I'm just being a bit mischievous in terms of like I'm giving him a massive points reduction for absolutely losing his mind after the game. I thought he should have handled himself a lot better afterwards. So I think his managerial performance yesterday was fine. I think what he did everything we wanted him to do in terms of the 11. Picked pretty much the best 11 he could have picked, and the players didn't do it. He brought on, probably all he could have really brought on. There wasn't a whole lot to bring on. So he did what he could. But I just thought, in terms of his overall performance yesterday, he got, overly flustered at the end there, and he kind of let himself down. So he gets a bad report card. But it's mainly because of that. It was, I think, it was more the players letting him down because we did pick our best 11.
I don't think he will be. By the way, I'm sorry, just to say, Norman. I don't think that because Norman's saying something saying about Hackbo, but he's also asked about Konate. I don't think Konate will be with he might go and maybe even and watch them play, but I don't think Konate is going to be involved. There's no way that he was unavailable for the FA Cup game and he'll go and play for the French team. I don't think that that's where on a friendly. Again, the only team that's going through anything that is a non-friendly or an actual World Cup qualifying type game will be Wataru Endo. Other than him, everyone else is going for friendlies, and that includes obviously some of the players I just mentioned earlier, with Diaz for Colombia, Nunez with Uruguay, and even Hackbo with the Netherlands. I don't think that they're going to be involved. I hope that a good number of these guys aren't involved. They need the time and rest. I hope that they can say something on the sense of like, let me get this one day off, and kind of like get this breather and be able to come back and ready for when we do have qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers, or when we do have those type of things to their national team at least. I hope that's a conversation that they have. A lot of national team coaches are probably going to want them to come back regardless, because there's very few opportunities that the international teams get to play with these players, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm just so happy that Egypt and Salah came to some kind of agreement and he's not going on that thing, because I was convinced he was no matter what. So that's great news that he doesn't have to go away to that.
Yeah.
Because it's friendlies, I think remember Ferguson, what he used to do back in the days, Brian, when he knew they'd go for a title, he would on purpose tell certain players, like you were on about Roy Keane a few times, they ended up staying at the club, not going on.
Yeah.
We need to do that now. Like, we should have done that now. I think hopefully, so we don't know exactly who's gone on international duty. I think Gomez is gone. I know Virgil's gone.
They called up Holland. He called
everyone's
up
been called up. Like I said, everyone's been called up for the most part. Like every last one of the players, pretty much. The players that we have in mind, at least the somewhat more the more normal starters for us are all getting call ups. But whether they get actual playing time is here. I don't even really want them making the trip, to be honest with you. I don't want them even going on the trip. I would prefer for them to just stay here in the facility, in near, be able to be with the training facility, in the sense of like whether they need medical attention or need them medical rehab to go through at the facilities here in Liverpool, or even so just to traveling like that can wear you down too, and so I don't want to see them making that trip to South America. It's bad enough that that Endo's got to make the trip to Japan, You know, I don't want to see him have to do that, but it is what it is when it comes to that.
Holland are playing Germany in a friendly as well.
Mhm.
So that'll be, I think the managers want to get their starting 11 ready for the Euros now. So these friendlies, maybe the big name
They
players will be
That's the
playing.
thing.
Yeah,
They will.
that's the
They
thing.
play 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
I don't even want him to do
the
that.
thing with
No.
the South American guys is as long as they're not coming back 36 hours before a game, there's 2 weeks. At least make sure they're
Yeah.
back like 3 days before the game, the next game.
Mhm.
This nonsense where they're flying back the night before, and all that
Mhm.
for friendly. No.
Yeah. We got
Well,
Brighton on the
we are
Sunday,
going.
Brian. So we're lucky, yeah. We
Yeah,
don't play on the
that's right.
Saturday. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
We are going to be bringing the Liverbird in for a landing here. Got the landing gear out. We're going to touch down here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking it out with us. We almost, even when we want to do 90, we end up doing it. We're testing our own our stamina here by we want to do 90, you end up doing 3 hours here. So it is good all the same because we end up getting talking and end up getting to points that we always enjoy. I always enjoy the camaraderie and the back and forth, and it actually is a safe place. Like as in one of the unique places that I find comfort in is when I'm with my fellow Reds, and it's a place where we can hash out our differences, or where we can figure out what it is. We can utilize the venting that we need to do for whatever the case might be, because the important thing about it is we understand. Get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. We do this again, you know, we move. We shake it off. We're gonna get banter. We're gonna get a lot of these some of our fellow Reds that, you know, don't necessarily have the grit or the means to like understand that this is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, you know, to this final line. So we're gonna have to like reach back and try to like pick these guys up, or pick the ladies up, or the guys up, whoever, so that we can understand that we're together on this. We're gonna make this work, and that is hopefully the concept that this team has. There's nothing that I would say that points different, so we will make it happen. And that's how I look at it. As a Red, you have to always believe. You have to always have hope. Have hope in your hearts, as they say, right? So let's continue to do so, man. Let's just continue to do so and just push forward, kind of like block out a lot of the nonsense the rivals will be throwing our way, block out, what ththese pundits will do just to try to get clicks and try to get, try to get you aggravated and get the rate, what they call it, the rage bait, right? The rage bait or something that they call it, right? And like recognize that, hey, we're all we got, right? Us Reds. So let's just make it all happen. And I appreciate every one of you guys being here for that. I appreciate the panel, of course, as well. Like the Liverbird flies high, and it's because of these guys too. So JK, thank you for joining me today.
Cheers, bro. Great to be on. Just one last thing quickly about there was a show today where one Liverpool fan was on there, and there was Tottenham, Man United, Man City, Arsenal. They were all after this guy, and I'm saying that's why us fans have to keep it on a level. Okay, you might not want Gapco to start one game, but it's not worth losing your mind over. We got
Yeah.
It's not. Us fans have to keep it cool. We're going for a title here. We could have been in a semi-final. We've already won a cup. We're in the quarterfinals in a European Cup, in the Europa League, and at this time of the year, time of the season, we got no time for no shenanigans. Leave that to the other fans who are looking at us with jealousy. Let's just leave it as that.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Brian. Yeah, I know you don't like I'll say the last word for myself, but I'll give you some last words right here.
No, just to Philip was saying that question, and because it goes back to the Fergie thing. So if you call a player up you can request them to be flown. Like, even if a player has a broken leg,
Mhm.
they can send it. They can all they have to do is call them up. So that's killed that Fergie nonsense.
Mhm.
So they changed the rules. So you can tell them anything you want. You can literally send them a picture of the guy in a wheelchair with 2 broken legs, and the team doctor, the international team doctor, still has the right to request that player, so they can assess him themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dave, that's one of those that we were joking about that Fergie thing earlier on, but that's one of those things they actually got rid of it. So yeah, you can call them up and you can just request it. It doesn't matter what the club
I
says.
wonder if the
Yeah, so
doctor, if you request
Good
them
for
too,
him.
I wonder if they can at least request, if they're going to honor the request, I wonder if they can just say, hey, to the doctor, come to wherever. Well, even if they had to flip the bill, like
no,
Mhm.
if they can
technically
say to
they
the
have
doctor,
to
hey,
go.
come here and do the evaluation as
No,
opposed to do the evaluation at the
no,
facilities.
no. Technically, no. That's another. No, they do. You have to. They have to go. They have to
Yeah.
travel to where they are. So
Mhm.
yeah, they've like Klopp can say, "Oh no, he ring up the guy." So that's why I think Salah basically said, rang the main guy there or something. I said, "I'm not
Mhm.
doing this." This had to be him stepping in and going, because that was worth too much money to them. That's why I think Salah stepped in and said, "Look, I can ring him up. Klopp can't ring him up and go, he's not going." Salah rang
Right.
him up and said, "Take me out of this." And they're
Right.
like,
That's a
"Well,
different story. Yeah, I was gonna say because I think the player still has a massive hand in whether he
that,
goes or doesn't.
exactly, that's how much power I
It's
think
what,
Joe
for
has.
instance, Gravenberch did that. For instance, Gravenberch was like getting the call up, and he declined the offer, basically.
Mhm. Did he get
So
called up this time?
I don't know if he got
No.
called up again. I just remember though that he declined, and that actually
Yeah.
he probably didn't because considering that he's kind of battling from injury, and also that he wasn't a guaranteed call up, but I mean that didn't help his case when it came to
No, you don't do that.
they weren't happy. Basically, they weren't happy about that.
Yeah.
They weren't happy. But we are at the gates, guys. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have some fun shows, as Brian mentioned, on the watch along coming up. So please do set that notification bell to all. And also, please do share this with your friends, your family, your foes. Does not matter. Just share with everyone so we can get the numbers up to a level where we can start to, really have an impact on the community base. Because look, there's plenty of people out there that have a negative slant. There's plenty of channels out there that are engaged on trying to, again, bring out the worst in you, but this channel is trying to do the best that we can to try to provide you with the proper tools, the proper weapons to defend yourselves, to, if necessary, go on the offensive, and to really represent the Reds the way that we see them as, and that is as mighty Reds. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And we'll have a show tomorrow for you. So just keep it on notification all. All right. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. All right. Take care, guys.